Hello and good evening, everybody. I will just kick about for a little while until other people come in. Oh, Julia, hello. I see you in chat. And Burren Witch, our guest. I'll not pull you up just yet, Burren. I'll give you time to get yourself in the right frame of mind. Hi, Danny. How are you? Hope you're well. So what I thought I will do is have a chat, just kind of lay out what's going to go on this evening, and then I will get Burren Witch up to tell us all about what happened at Lep Castle. And I thought that if we have a little bit of a chat prior to her going in and telling us all about her experiences at Lep. And then Burren is happy to answer any questions that anybody in chat may have for her. So I will just, as I said, hover around on the tubes for a bit, for 5-10 minutes, and wait to see who comes in. So how are we all this evening? I hope everybody's well, or morning, or afternoon, whatever, I don't know, whatever time of day it is where you are in the world. Because we are currently on 7:30 p.m. here in the UK. Well, 7:35. Oh no, it is 7:30. 7:30 p.m. here in the UK. Hi, Green Eyes, my darling. How are you? Has it stopped raining in Queensland? Been worried about you, mate. Hi, Simples. How are you, chicken? I hope you're all well. As I said, I know Burren's been in. I think she's popped off again, but we'll just hover around for a bit until Burren comes in. Hi, Frida. How are you, love? So yeah, what I'm planning on doing. Hiya, Julia. Hope you're all right, my darling. And here is Burren Witch, the star of the show. I hope you're all right tonight, my chicken. What I was going to do is I'll wait for a few more. If we do our usual meet and greet for 5-10 minutes, wait for a few more people to come in. And then if I just go through basically the layout of the night, and then I can put the link in for Burren Witch to come up and join us. And I just thought if we have a little natter at first for a couple of minutes when you come up on panel, and then I will just turn it over to you. What's Green Eyes saying here? Yes, all good. Just the poor guys left cleaning the mud out. Now Mozzie plague with Japan. Oh no. Nightmare. Who's this sucker my dick? Is that Porky? I like how Danny's put, hey, sucker. Oh, dear me. Keep calm and oh, I like your I like your avatar. Keep calm and suck my dick. Well, whoever you are, welcome, welcome. So, oh, that's a name and a half, isn't it? Suck 'em a dick. I don't even know where to go from there. Oh, heck. And I'm sorry if I'm going to sound a little bit fatigued. But yeah, I've had a very busy week, as you'll know. But there is light at the end of the tunnel in this house move. We have the van booked for Monday. So, yeah, I'm going to say no more on that one because I don't want to jinx myself. But at the moment, yes, everything is going to plan. Suck a minute says, thank you, don't suck too hard. I didn't think there was anything such thing as too hard, just the same as there's no such thing as too much chocolate. But, maybe that's a woman thing, I don't know. Danny's asking, Green Eyes, was your house and neighbourhood affected? Oh, Danny, waiting for Green Eyes to answer you, but I'm not going to answer for her, but we were talking on the phone and she was sending me videos of out the back of a house off the deck. So all I'll say is like, oh, wow. So yeah, it was Frieda. I was watching a little bit of it as well. And then, as I said, Green Eyes was sending me videos of her own and then links to other things and photographs. It's just absolutely horrific. Oh, hiya, Starlight. How are you, sweetheart? I hope you're all right. I'm looking forward to our evening with Burren. What else have I got? Green Eyes says, Danny, my house at the top of the hill, so we were okay. Neighbourhood, no, about 10,000 homes went under. 10 died in the flooding. Oh, that's just tragic. Hiya, Meadow. Hi, Kiss and Chat. Hope you're all okay. Here listening in the background. Well, you're welcome as always, Meadow. Obviously, tonight we're not doing a one of our usual evenings whereby you can stump us all and lead us a merry dance right up to the final whistle. But Incognito Night will be returning, just not tonight. So yeah, we've got the story of Burren Witch's stories from Lep Castle. So I'm hoping you'll all enjoy that. Frida says, oh, hi, fellow shield maiden. Oh yeah, Meadow, where's your shield? You need a shield on there, chicken. Yeah, it is devastating, Dan. It's awful. But we seem to all be getting these. We must all be getting these. The flooding is just getting worse and worse every year, isn't it? Well, even from month to month across the planet. Suck my dick. Oh, must have my nights confused. No, it's absolutely fine. We normally do. We normally do an incognito night, but last week we decided that tonight, because we're doing a paranormal, it's a true life experience of one of our channel members, Burren Witch, who was doing paranormal investigations at what is probably one of, if not the most haunted castle in Europe. And just because of the seriousness, we were thinking maybe we won't do incognito tonight. However, anybody coming in incognito is more than welcome, and we can still try and guess. So it's not a problem. Green Eyes. Started reading the book you recommended. Oh, have you, Green Eyes? Which book was that, hon? Only being nosy. Suck my dick. I'll trot off with my dick then and see you next week. No, you're very welcome to stay. You're very welcome to stay. It's just we're just having. I mean, we may get other people coming in. To be honest, I don't mind when anybody comes in incognito. It's just that when I announce incognito night, that's when everybody jumps on board. So, right, I will just let everybody know, because we've got there's 13 watching. Oh, right, Green Eyes got you helter skelter. Yeah, I'm enjoying listening to some of Danny's as well. And obviously the podcast. I've managed to catch a couple of those live, and also a couple of Captain Spaulding's. So yeah, it's been I'm quite enjoying that side of YouTube, or the YouTube streets. So tonight we are going to be talking with the lovely Burren Witch, and Burren Witch and I'll have a little discussion when she comes up on panel, just so that we can ask a little bit about her background. But basically, as Burren had mentioned a week or so ago, she had some real terrifying experiences when she visited Lep Castle. And this had come up because I think it was myself and Lisa were talking about Lep and saying, it's one of the places that we would like to go, even though it's terrifying. At which point Burren Witch let us know that she had actually taken part in an investigation there. Hence, we are now having this this live tonight on the back of the little chat that we've had with Burren Witch. So what I want to do is we'll get Burren Witch to come up. Her and I'll have a couple of minutes, just a little chat, because I know Bam did this for me when I very first went on live. We just chatted randomly, and it made me forget that I was actually up on panel with people watching. So I thought we'll do that. Then I will stand back and let Burren Witch tell us, unless, there's a little point where we just want a bit of clarity on something, but I will leave you to it, Burren. Let you tell the tale as you want to tell it. And then if people don't mind, can we save any questions, in general, until after Burren Witch has finished her story? Only because, as you know, when I am trying to tell you tales and go through facts and what have you, when I'm watching the chat or when questions are thrown, I'll lose my train of thought. So I'd rather that we can keep Burren Witch on track. She gets a chance to tell her tale the way she wants to tell it. If anybody has got any real serious important questions that they feel the need to answer at a particular point during Burren Witch's story, can you type them in capitals in the chat, please? I'll be watching chat just in case somebody mentions something and you want me to butt in, but I'd rather we didn't do that if possible. But I know sometimes something will come up. So are you all happy with that as a format? Oh, Green Eyes, you wake at 3 o'clock. Flipping heck. It is dedication, Frida. I've been up early every morning though, because I can't sleep, because I'm packing boxes and then thinking I've forgotten something. So this is my little bit of escapism tonight. Right, so I'm going to drop the link in, and if we let Burren Witch hit the link when you feel ready. Oh God, I hope I don't disappoint. Will you? Heck, Burren Witch, you're not going to disappoint anybody at all. Oh, you're going to need a nana nap, Green Eyes. Oh, bless you. Hiya, Sid. Oh, you're just in time. You're just in time, Sid. Just waiting for Burren Witch to come up, and she's going to tell us about her paranormal investigation. So we've all been dying to hear this. Yes, Frida, it's incredibly stressful. Um, although Porky did laugh before because I said he is currently being the voice of clarity and reason, and he started guffawing down the phone at me because nobody would ever usually describe him as clarity and reason, or use those two words in a sentence, including his name. However, I'm running around like a Fraggle at the moment. I'm meeting myself coming backwards and getting all flappy. So yeah, he is being an absolute diamond at the moment. Right, let's have a little look. See, oh, we've got Burren Witch backstage. So, good evening, Burren Witch. Can you hear?
Hello?
Hi, got you
Can you
finally. I
hear me?
didn't think. Yes, can you hear
Oh,
me?
brilliant. Yep, I can hear you.
Brilliant. We just have. I think we've just got a couple, like a second or so delay.
Okay, cool.
So, welcome to the stream, and
Yeah, hey, Jess.
yeah, and everybody. Oh yeah, you're all. Everybody's saying hello and what have you, and
Hello,
really looking
gang.
forward to this. Oh, Lady Witch has come in as well. Brilliant. Um,
Yay.
so I thought if I watch, I mean, I hope you're okay with me doing what I said. If
Yeah,
we try and avoid the chat, just
yeah.
until you finish your story, is that okay?
Yeah, it's no problem at all. Yeah. Sorry. Oh, I have the flu.
Oh no, do you know I've started coughing today as well? My throat feels like somebody's gone at it with a razor blade.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I'm like that as well.
oh no. I think it's the
Fun.
weather though, isn't it? The rain and the cold, and then it's going warm again. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, we'll
absolutely.
So
Yeah,
before we start, if I can ask a couple of questions just to get us in the mood
yeah.
and let people have. So, how long have you been into paranormal investigations?
Oh God. Year, probably about 20 years.
Gosh, and how did you get into it? Was it just a
I am.
fascination? Yeah,
Yeah, I've always been fascinated with it. Yeah, as a kid, I think I was always very sensitive to things, and I would pick up on things and feel things, and um, yeah, so it led me on to kind of wonder about a lot of other things. So the paranormal sort of went hand in hand.
right. So prior to you, well, obviously we're going to come up to the whole LEP thing. Had you
Yeah.
always been first interested? Um, were you solo, or were you always doing investigations with either a friend or a group,
Oh,
or is that
always with people. Yeah, I mean, I've always been with a group or with a couple of people. I've never gone on my own. Well, that's a bit of a lie. I have gone a few places on my own. Yeah, an asylum at night on my own, walking around with a little torch in your phone. That's kind of me. But I try not to do those things because I know how silly and how dangerous it is, and anything could happen, and you're there, and nobody knows you're there. So I mean, I don't recommend that to anybody. If you're going to do it, go in a group and keep safe.
God, you've got balls of steel. I could not do that. Couldn't, not on my
Well, you
own
see,
at night.
I think everybody thinks that. I mean, just because it's only scary because it's dark. It's not scary because anything's going on or anything's happening. It's just scary because it's dark. And once you kind of get your mind over that, it's actually fine. It's just all these little things that I kind of fought against when I first start going up, and they were like, "Oh, come on, it's just dark." It's just, and they were right. It was my own head was making things up that wasn't going on at all. Your fears kind of get to you at the start, but as you go on, it's kind of like, oh yeah, fine, yeah. What else? Oh, that bang did it. Oh yeah, okay, fine.
Oh,
I want
I
to
don't
see
know.
tables shaking and tables moving before I get excited.
Oh, flipping it. I honestly don't know. I mean, I've just noticed them with the chat Frida and Green Eyes, like, no way would I be, go on my own, or Frida saying you far, you're much braver than she is. And that's the way I feel as well. But I think I have an overactive imagination, and it
I
does
think
kind of,
I'm just ridiculously curious, you know, and curiosity killed the cat and all of that. But I think I have just a ridiculous curiosity, and if I happen to be in a place and and I'm passing by and go, oh God, I'll nip in there just for 5 minutes and see what's happening and have a wander around. And it's really silly. You shouldn't do these things on your own, because you, as I say, you can't get yourself into trouble. And if nobody knows that you're going there, which I generally do these things on the spur of the moment, if I'm
oh,
passing by or whatever, like, yeah. So it's not recommended. I have a couple of clips of outside the asylum in County Clare and inside, and yeah, it's one of the first two times there was just something very, very bad circled around me outside the asylum, and I just knew I had to get out of there, because when
oh,
I looked at the door, um with my naked eye, there was nobody standing behind the doorway, but my camera was picking up a complete shadow person, like you could make out the outline, the head, shoulders of a person standing inside the hallway, but my eyes couldn't see this. So I just thought, okay, it's time to go. So I left. But these things I definitely don't recommend anybody to do it on their own.
I just need to ask you here. When you said there was so something was circling round the asylum,
Yeah.
was that the shadow person or something else?
No, this was a blackness, like a dense blackness, and it was more like a like a not a cloud as such, but just this moving energy that was just swirling around me and swirling around me. And there was only one other place that I've experienced something very similar to that, and that was Lep. And I knew, oh, it's time to go. It's time to go now.
Right.
And I'm in the middle of nowhere outside an asylum, having to walk through this tiny little broken up road full of trees and all overgrown stuff on my own back out to the car. So it was a bit idiotic and a bit stupid, but
Oh,
I still went back on my own. I don't learn, but yeah, no, I've learned know when to leave. You know.
well, it's like when do you have your last drink, isn't it? You have to. Okay, I'm just
It
water
kind
now.
of
That's
is. Yeah,
it.
kind of
So,
is.
can I ask then, what
Yeah,
made you decide on LEP? I mean, obviously, for those people who don't know, I think I said it
yeah.
before, it is one of the, if not the most haunted castle in the whole of Europe. So,
It
that
absolutely is.
was why I wanted to go. So, is that what drew you there?
No, actually, it was a group decision. It was sort of kind of made before I had arrived in that day, and they were, oh, we're going to go to Lepos. Oh, yeah, okay. So it was all sort of done and dusted before I had even gotten there. But they had booked it, and it was fine. I didn't really care where we go. I like to go places, new places that I hadn't been before, and I hadn't been to Lep. So I had read about it and I had seen a few things about it, but I'd never experienced it. Like, so I was really looking forward to it. And yeah, uh,
So
yeah,
you were
I
aware of
was,
the tales then?
yeah, I was aware of, but the way you kind of take all these things with a pinch of salt. You see, the thing is, unless it happens to you and you experience it, you tend to doubt people.
Yes.
You kind of think, are they hamming this up for the camera? Is this all an Abbey act to get view? You kind of tend to think that way. Well, I do anyway. Unless I've seen it or experienced it, I
Mhm.
kind of go, I can see how this is faked. I can see how that's faked. I pick through it.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, the LEP is it's definitely an experience. But if I was to go again with a group, I would go about things very, very differently.
So, do you want to tell us? I mean, I don't know how you want to start this off, like the build up
Yeah,
to it, time of year.
yeah,
Shall I step back and let you
yeah.
tell us?
Okay, yeah, yeah. I'll just waffle on.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were doing a 24-hour lockdown in Lep Castle. There was 16 of us, and yeah, we arrived there that morning and we were setting up and doing baseline readings of the building and all that kind of thing. And everything was going great. We were all in great form. We were all really excited. So the energy was really high, and nothing. Well, actually, I'm not going to say nothing really happened. I mean, Anna came down the stairs and she had this big scrape in her face, and I thought, "Whoa, where did you get that from?" And she was like, "Oh no, don't tell me that." And I was like, "Well, yeah, you've got a big scrape in your face." But we were working with the medium, Angie Freeland, and her husband Keith Freeland. Keith is a parapsychologist. He's just a fantastic guy to work with, and Angie is just an amazing medium. But we were walking about the castle, and they had been there before a few times, and I hadn't. So we were walking up the stairs, and it was just really funny. I was picking up a lot of energies. I had, but it was all fractured. It was not from the same era or time. It was quite odd. So I got these three kids running up the stairs, and then I had soldiers, but it was from a different era, much earlier. And then Keith had told me the story about the children, which I hadn't heard the story about the children. I just had heard about the elemental and that end of things and the bloody chapel and
Yeah.
those kind of historic stories. But I hadn't heard the more, like, if you like, smaller stories about the kids and things like that. So they were kind of, "Oh, are you sure you were? Did you put protection on?" I was like, "Oh, I'm fine, I'm fine." I was a little bit green around the ears. I didn't really think that this place was going to be that bad. But yeah, it was funny because when I was driving down the road coming up to Lap, my stomach dropped, and I just thought, "Oh, it's
Yeah.
probably just excitement." But I think inside me something knew this wasn't going to end well.
Yes.
So that was
Can I
okay. Time was ticking on. Yeah.
just it's just again because some people won't know, and I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh yeah. No, we're
Um,
good.
it's just about the different hauntings that we're aware of. So the
Yeah.
bloody chapel, and that was
Mm.
where there was that where they oh that was where the oubliettes is, isn't it? Where
That's
all
right.
the
Yeah, yeah. That
two
was the
top
opening to the UB.
things.
Yeah, and then a priest that was stabbed by his brother and thrown out the
Yes.
window up there in the chapel too. And then in the Great Hall, which would be the middle part of the castle, there was a whole family wiped out and poisoned there. There was
Yes.
25-ish people murdered in one night there.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I couldn't eat the whole day. I felt sick, and all I kept wanting to do was drink, 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 drink.
Really?
So, Angie was saying I was picking up on all sorts of everything, and she was kind of getting quite worried about me. So, what's wrong? I'm fine. And she was like putting more protection around me, and I was like, oh God, I've done this before. It's fine, that way. But obviously, she could kind of see that I was a little bit more open. Um, but anyway, so that was fine. What else did we have? We didn't know the dungeons was in Charleville. Yeah, so that was it really. It's quite a small castle. Like if you're going to bed down there for the night, you're not going to be in an actual bed. You bring sleeping bags, and you're pretty much sleeping on the flat floor.
Yes.
If you do go asleep, or else you'll end up doing what we did, sitting around in a circle around the fire, and like just people nodding off on each other's shoulders because everybody was too terrified to do anything else.
Yeah, that'll be
Um,
me.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, the camera guys wanted to go up to the mezzanine. I think that was the only bed that there was. They wanted to lie down, but after everything that went down, that was just a no go. Nobody was going anywhere alone, not even to the loo. It got that bad in the end. Like, so,
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I shall shut up now then and let you carry on. Thank you.
Okay, no bother. I'm trying to remember now because it was quite a few years ago. Yeah, so okay, so we set up, and when we started, we split the team up into two groups. So Team A stayed in the Great Hall, and Angie had her planchette out, and they were on this big huge table, and they were kind of calling out using the planchette. And
Yeah.
myself and Keith, we went up to the elemental room. Now the elemental room is, for all the want of a better word, it's like a little boiler room, and it's up beyond the mezzanine, looking down into the Great Hall. So it's just before the bloody chapel, so it's quite a ways up the staircase. So you go in this little doorway, and it's quite narrow and it's quite low. So the only time you get to stand up is when you actually get down to the boiler. So there was five or no, six of us, I think, and we were all sitting around in a circle. There was enough room for all of us to sit down, like so. We're sitting around in a circle, and we turned the lights off. And there's one thing that you do tend to notice, and that's energy. You know, when you're in the dark and you turn your lights out and you see what I can call, like, you know, static in the TV. You know, sometimes your eyes are seeing that little static in the darkness.
Uh-huh.
Well, what you're actually looking at is energy. And after a couple of minutes, all that little static was gone, and we just felt this oppressive, just weight on all of us.
Wow.
And it was just black, just black. And we started chatting, and we could hear them downstairs. They were getting great responses, but we weren't getting that up where we were. So I had this big muscly, you know, bearded, long-haired guy sitting next to me, covered in tattoos, and, you know, big strong chap. And
Yeah.
I said, "Are you okay?" And I turned the camera or the light on him, and he had gone the waxiest white I've ever seen in my life. And he was sweat, like the sweat was literally running off him, and he was just in a daze.
Right.
So I just thought, oh God, we have to get him out of here now. There's this tiny little step, like 3 inches of a step to get up, down, and go down the little narrow hole. He couldn't get up. He just couldn't do it. So I don't know where the strength came from, but I just got him up and threw one arm over my back and literally dragged him out onto the spiral staircase. So we radioed down for help, and I tore down right down to the end of the stairs. I got Coke and sweets and brought them back up. The rest of them helped him down the stairs to where we had set up base. And yeah, we had to take him outside. He was just zonked, just no energy, nothing.
Yeah.
And we yeah, it was quite scary to see how fast it happened, because he was fine. We were all sitting there, nothing was happening, and they were getting great, you know, responses from the
Yeah.
planchette downstairs, but we weren't getting that, and we were sitting here for maybe about half an hour, 40 minutes.
Mhm.
And then that happened to this guy. So that was fine. We got him down, and you know, he kind of came back around, but we were all kind of getting a little bit wary now. Um, so when we done so many different seances in different rooms, but we done one in the Great Hall, the whole lot of us, and it was bizarre because I could smell baby powder, and then I could smell like iron metallic, but I knew what I was smelling, and I didn't want to say it out loud. But one of the other guys said, "It sounds weird, but I smell blood." And I just looked at him and I went,
Yeah.
"Oh God, me too." You know, and she just sort of nodded her head and went, "Yep, yep, okay." And then things started going a little bit pear shaped from then. And we took a break. We went down and we regrouped, and we decided what we were going to do then. So we, sorry, we went up to the Bloody Chapel. And this was probably about 12 o'clock at night. I'm probably telling this story completely arseways. I'm quite nervous that I've
It
got the
was
flu.
honestly, please don't be nervous. If you forget, is it easier? Would you prefer if I bob in every couple of minutes or something, or just leave you to
No,
talk?
it's fine. It's just because it was so long ago. I'm trying to remember details, which will probably keep coming back to me the more I chat her on. Um, but yeah, so we went upstairs to do up to the Bloody Chapel to do the séance, and we were all standing around in a circle holding hands. Now the thing about the Bloody Chapel is it's really, really dangerous. It's the very, very top of the building, but there's no windows. So
Yeah.
if you stand anywhere near the windows and somebody tips you or you get shoved from nowhere, you're gone. That's it, done. Uh, so I was terrified,
Right.
petrified of the windows. And I don't know, I just had this intense fear of being absolutely terrified of the windows. Anytime anybody get anywhere near them, I start roaring at them, come back, don't go near the windows. And it was a good job I did, because one of the guys just said he felt a shove, but there was nobody near him, you know. So it was just weird things just start going. Oh, we all felt it. I can't even describe
Do you
the
think that was?
feeling that we all felt.
Do you think that that was maybe, I don't know, kind of a residual reenactment of what happened to the priest? You know, being hooked out the window, or
It could have been, but it was like I had this feeling in the pit of my stomach, somebody's going to get thrown out there. I just had a feeling somebody was going to get thrown out there. And maybe it was the other thing as well. Maybe it was the priest. I don't know. But I just had this horrible feeling somebody's going out that window. And I just couldn't take my eyes off them. But anyway, that was fine. We all got to the centre. Everybody got a bit nervous then. We got to the centre, we had the candles and we had the K2s and we had everything set up, and we start doing calling out. And all of a sudden, I had two big guys either side of me, and they were like, "You're shaking." And I didn't feel like I was shaking. I said, "Am I?" And they're like, "Yeah, Jesus Christ, you're absolutely freezing." I said, "I feel fine." Like, they're like, "Geez, your hands are blue, you're shaking." I said, "No, I'm fine, I'm fine." And then I felt sick. I felt my stomach flip. I felt really queasy. And then I felt kind of weak. And then that was it. That's all I remember. And
No.
the next thing I remember, I had Angie, the medium, right in my face, asking me what was my name, what was my name. And I kind of came back around and I was like, "Oh, it's Adele, it's Adele." Well, I'm like, "What the hell happened?" I was up against the wall, all these people around me. I thought, "Oh my God, what's happened here?" Like, so I said, "Get her out of here, get her downstairs." So by the time I got downstairs, I was sort of shaking, but I don't know whether it was with fright or, well, it wasn't with fright. I wasn't afraid, but I think it was more adrenaline.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then I think I was quite annoyed that something had done that to me. So after I had something to drink, at a half a can of Coke or something, I
Yeah.
got so angry. I was so mad. I tore up the stairs. I had one foot on the spiral staircases to go up, and Angie roared down, "Are you coming back up here?" It's like she just knew I wasn't going to let it go, like, you know. So, yep, I'm coming, I'm coming. So back up the stairs we went, and we done another little séance, and yeah, I was angry when I know I was so angry, and that's not really me to be that angry. But we went back up and we did the séance, and nothing really happened. A few taps, nothing that I'd write
Yeah.
home about, and I know it was fine. I felt a little bit odd. I can't say what way I felt, but I just felt odd. So we decided we'd break up and we'd go back downstairs and we'd have a break, and because we'd been at this for hours, and it was probably like 2 o'clock in the morning then at this stage, because nothing really kicks off until it gets dark in nighttime, you know yourself, when you're setting up and doing things like that. So that was fine, and I had to go to the loo, and I had been sitting in by the fire, and I had to go to the loo, and as I was passing Angie, she stopped me and she grabbed me and said, "Are you okay?" And I looked at her and I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And she just bore into my eyes and she said, "Are you okay?" And "Yeah, I'm fine." And she said, "Okay, hurry up and come back." I said, "Okay, fine." So I walked away from her, and that is all I remember until I woke up outside, or came to, or came back outside with, like, literally the whole fucking place in an uproar. It was horrible. I hadn't got a clue what had happened. I hadn't got a clue why I was outside or how I got outside or what was going on. There was people in hysterics crying. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. It seems that when I left Ange, I went to the loo. I came back, but I didn't take my seat where I had been sitting. I sat outside the circle,
Yeah.
and one of the guys called me and called my name. "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And seemed I didn't answer them, but I just took on this really, really not a nice smile. And Keith just knew, "Oh, get her out quick." So they lifted me up and got me out. And then I tried to attack pretty much the medium. And I had two big feckin' motorbike driving muscly guys trying to keep a hold of me. I'm 5'4". I'm not a big person, do you know? And they had trouble holding on to me. I was headbutting her. My
No.
eyes rolled in my head. I was spitting and hissing. I was just doing all manner of horrible things. And like, everybody was terrified because nobody knew what was going on. And this went on for a good 10, 15 minutes. Um, yeah, it was absolutely terrifying. It was terrifying looking back on it because my memory of it was quite muddy, to be honest. I mean, what I remember from that was it was like I was suspended in blackness. And I could hear somebody calling my name, but it was so far away, and I
Right.
wanted to go, but I just couldn't. It was like I was stuck in mud, and I was tired, and I was like, I know I was being suppressed. I know I was being suppressed wherever I was, that they were keeping me down. Uh, she was keeping me down. She knew I was very open and that I could do this particular thing that some people can do. I can't remember what sorry, I'm going blank now, I'm dying with the flu. What Angie called it. It's a type of mediumship. I can't think of the name of it now. But anyway, so yeah, if I just felt like I was suspended in darkness, and I was tired, and I was stuck, and I could hear her voice. Um and you know, when I did come back, it was like zoom, like click your fingers, and
Straight.
I'm there. Yeah, I'm there, and she's wrapped around me, and she's talking into my ear. Tell me your name. Tell me your name. Seemingly, oh God, well, I tried to headbutt her every time she came close to me. I tried to bite her, and my eyes was just the worst when they rolled up into my head. I can't do that. I can't.
Right.
I've tried to do it several times afterwards.
Well,
I
it
can't
hurts,
do that.
doesn't it? If you
You know,
try and do it, it
I
does.
can't. Yeah,
I was just going to say, I'll just give you a throat because I can hear you struggling slightly. Just Lady Witch had just been. I know I said I was going to kind of ignore chat till you finish, but I'm not asking
no, it's
questions.
right.
Which was just saying when you were talking about the first time that had happened that you got yourself a rider. She said not fun when it's done without permission.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
when Free was asked what a rider was, and she was then saying a spirit that takes over your, sorry, that mounts your own, tries to
yeah,
take over, and it's very similar to possession, but usually temporary. So, which
yeah,
just sounds exactly what's happened to you in that
yeah.
situation, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was. At the time, it wasn't frightening because, I had no real awareness. I knew, obviously I knew something wasn't right, but it was only when I actually, when I came back, and there was pandemonium outside. Um, all the girls were like hysterics. There was people wrapping their arms around each other and crying. And these are all grown bloody men, big grown men, like, and women. And I'm standing there going, what happened? and she's just like, what's your name? What's your name? I was like, get the, this one out, and she was, okay, okay, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. But I started to shake, and I could not stop shaking.
Hmm.
I mean, I couldn't hold anything. I wasn't cold. I just could not stop shaking. I like, they tried to hand me a drink. I couldn't hold it. I spilled it everywhere. And they left me outside. Well, everybody stayed outside with me for quite a while before we went back in. And we were thinking that, okay, it's had its fun. It's going to go now. It's going to leave us be. But no, that was that wasn't to be. But it was really hell bent on me.
And at
We
that
stayed.
stage, did you know what it was? Did you have an
Oh yeah,
inkling at
yeah,
that stage
yeah.
what
I
spirit
yeah
it
I
was?
I felt her essence. Like I knew this was just ugh, it. That's I just what ugh, just rotten, horrible, evil, nasty, just, and not from our dimension, not from this place.
Yeah,
This thing, I don't know where it came from, but it wasn't one of us. It wasn't a human spirit that had passed. This
yeah,
was something entirely different. I did get to see little flashes in my head, but nothing that I could really tangible, nothing that I could really grab onto. So I was still sort of a little bit confused after the whole thing. I spent my life confused, but
oh,
this was something else. But when we did eventually go back in, um, I was sitting obviously by the fire. Angie was sitting beside me, and we were just chatting. And everyone was, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I'm fine. I couldn't hold anything. I just couldn't stop shaking." And we were sitting out. The chairs that they have in Lep, some of them are huge, big oak wooden chairs they're nearly like thrones, if you like,
yeah,
and they're heavy. Really, really heavy. And there's about 4 or 5 of them, or maybe there's more or less. I can't remember, but there was definitely two beside the fire, and I was sitting on one, and Angie was sitting on the other, and I was sitting there, and all of a sudden this doof at the back of my chair. This hit me so hard, it knocked this huge, heavy oak throne up onto its two front little things that it sits on, the two front legs. The
Yes.
chair came back down. The whole place stopped and just turned and looked at me. And I looked at Angie. I didn't know what to do. And she's like brushed it off. She keep talking, keep talking. So okay, so just ignore it. Kept talking, kept talking. And then about 2 minutes later, it literally knocked me and the chair forward. So I just hopped up and just can't do this. I can't sit there. I don't know if I can stay the night. I can't do this. And she was like, don't worry, I'm going to do something special now to protect us all. It'll be fine. It won't break this circle. I was like, okay, that's fine. So we were all wired to the moon now at this stage, just completely freaked out. Um, I was just sitting there beside the fire, and God love them, they were all nodding off one by one. I think the adrenaline had worn off now, and they were all just
Yeah.
sort of like flies. But myself and Keith, we didn't close our eyes once, and everybody else did. But even I said to him, I said, "Can you see that?" And he said, "What? Can you not see this black cloud-like thing moving around the circle? There's sparks in the air from it. Can you not see it?" And he looked around. He went, "Oh Jesus!" I was like, "What is that?" And he said, "That's whatever's after you." I was like, "Oh
Oh
my God."
God.
Yeah. He said, "Whatever was in you earlier on, it's trying again. It doesn't want to let you go." And I'm sitting there going, "Holy Jesus Christ! I didn't sign up for this." But
Oh,
I did not move until about 6:30. I started waking people up. I was like, "Come on, guys! I just want to get the hell out of here." I was waiting for that sun to come up, but it was March, so it wasn't going to get that bright
yeah.
that quick. And it was one of those mornings where it should have been a little bit brighter or a lot brighter, but it was dark, miserable. It was really rainy, so the clouds were
Yeah.
darker, so it didn't get bright. As I was like, kept looking out the window, I was like, "Oh, come on, sunlight, come on, morning, let me see a bit of light." I feel the whole place lifts in the morning when there's a bit of
Yeah.
light coming through, but in the evening time in that place, it's just rotten. It's horrible. I mean, it's like you're wading through mud and muck, and it's just horrible. I can't even describe the foulness of this thing that exists in there. I mean, even Sean, that mezzanine door, he will not close that, because every time you do, or lock it, every time you do, bad things happen. So he will not allow anybody to lock it or close it. He doesn't care who you are, what program you're from. You're not closing that door. So he doesn't take any risks like that, because he has to put up whatever you store
Yeah.
up after you're gone. So yeah, it was pretty hairy. And coming down the stairs, doing the last checks, making sure we had everything. I got a nice shove, so I came down. I was lucky, got me low on the back, because I fell backwards instead of forwards.
Shit.
I came down the last 5 steps and left. It was like giving me a good final wallop before I left. Yeah, so I
Oh,
left. I was black and blue. I was shaking.
oh
Oh
God.
God, yeah, it was really, really, really scary.
And
And
any
but the worst part was looking back at the footage. That was the worst.
Well, was there any indication either from the medium, or did you get an inkling, or anybody else, why specifically target you? Was there any reason that you identified why you were that target?
Yeah, Angie was saying, because I haven't tapped into my gifts, that I should really tap in and use them. And because I'm not using them, it's not that they'll use it, but they will see me as a channel, even if I don't want them to. Now, I've never worked on it to close it down, because I just never really bothered. I have now, I've taken care of things, but at the time I was just sort of going around like a bloody beacon, like not realizing that, something nasty can really get in here and cause me a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
But like, even when I came home, I was 2 weeks like feeling really frightened at home in my own house. I felt like something was just over my right shoulder. I could feel something there all the time. And I took more cleansing baths and smoke baths, you name it. I'd done it all. And it was a good 2 weeks before I felt it actually lift. It was really, really horrible. I mean, those 2 weeks after I came home, excuse me, from left, It wasn't nice. It really, really wasn't nice. I was so frightened. And I couldn't say why. There was nothing to be frightened of, but I just felt there was this thing there all the time.
Mm,
And it didn't
but
leave and it didn't go away.
and well, that's it, isn't it? I mean, because people don't know about these elemental spirits, we know
Yeah,
bits, don't we? We know there's the stench that comes with them. We know that they're not human, but they can appear human
yeah,
before they then transform. Bit shapeshiftery
mm,
like, isn't it? But
yeah, yeah,
they don't know enough to, normally if something will attach itself and follow you home, it's
yeah,
left the point of origin, hasn't it? Whereas this
yeah.
thing has it's like it can
Yeah.
send little tentacles of itself off out to
Correct.
pester,
Correct.
can't it?
Yeah. 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 And then I don't know whether it recalls it or whether I got rid of it or
Mhm.
what it does. It just, I know after 2 weeks, I just felt it lifted. It had gone. Um, yeah, it was just, it was a hard, those 2 weeks when I came home, I think were just horrible. But, it was looking at oh God, looking at the footage was just, I mean, I burst into tears crying. I was like, I don't want my family to see it. I don't want my kids to see this. I don't want anybody to see this. This is horrific. I mean, it was so scary. I mean, if I saw it on TV, I don't think I'd believe it. You know that way. You'd be like, "Oh, I wasn't there. I didn't see it." But I can hand on heart say, if this ever does see the light of day, I can hand on heart say it is all 100% correct, real. No, I'll be acting. No, I'm not an actor, and even if
No. I mean, Green Eyes is just saying then. I was going to say, can I go through a couple of questions? Just like I'm just conscious of you struggling with your throat a little bit there. Um, well, Sid had initially said that he was turning the lights out and he was lying down, turning the lights out and listening. He was going, come at me, Burren Witch, scare me. Sid has put the lights back on. That's just to let you know he's wimped out and put the lights back on. Um, and Green, was it Green Eyes? Yeah, she wanted to know, did anything show on film? Was there anything other than yourself? Did anything show up on the film that you took? Hello? Oh, it looks like Burren Witch might have either lost connection or possibly has muted. So I'll just chat along for a second, and hopefully she will come back in a minute. So what you all guys thinking of this at the moment? It's bloody frightening, isn't it? Let's have a look. Lady Witch, energy source for use at will, greedy fecker. Absolutely. But again, these elemental spirits, because they're not common, it's kind of guesswork, isn't it, as to what they can and can't do. Because they, like this particular elemental that's resides, shall we say, or squats. I think squat is probably a better word. It squats at Lep. It never leaves there, but yet part of it attached itself to Burren Witch. Oh, Julie, it's putting you off ghost hunting, is it? Well, the thing is, I hope Burren can come back on. For anybody, I know we've got a few extra people who've come in. Um, Burren Witch is just, I think. Oh, I think she's lost connection. Hopefully, she'll come back in. I am going to drop the link again for her, and I'll just keep talking for a second. Oh, hang on, she's here. Oh, where are we? Hello.
I don't know what happened. It just went off. Where was I?
Oh, don't worry. I was just going through. I said I reckoned you probably lost connection, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, I was just going through some of the things that people had said. Green Eyes was asking, did anything show up on film? Anything supernatural, I suppose, or paranormal on the film that you took. Let's Let's have a little look what else was put. I mean, everybody's, everybody's really enjoying this. Lady Witch is throwing in some good tips of her own as well. Let me have a little look. Frida's saying it's freaking me out. Would never go there. Oh, she's saying, what about me and Porky going there? Well, I'm up for it, but I don't think I would be as brave as Burren Witch and Porky. I would probably be the person sitting in the car monitoring from a distance. So yeah, if I go back to Green Eyes, so did anything show up on film then, Burren? Apart from you, obviously. Oh no, I think we've lost her again. Oh, you still want to go there, Lady Witch? Well, you know what? You should sort that out with them. Can you imagine that though? If Burren manages to sort it out for us, the Burren Witch and you. So we'd have a Burren Witch and Lady Witch. We'd have a pork chop. We'd have a silly kiss. Oh, she's back again. Oh, let's add to the stream. Hello.
Sorry,
It's
my
oh, hello. Yeah,
can you
Green
hear
Eyes.
me?
Yeah, can you hear us now? Green Eyes is just saying she doesn't think it wants to be talked about.
Yeah, I know. This happens every time I talk about it, every single time. So
Really?
yeah, every single time. And I know I still have a bit of an attachment. It doesn't tend to want to leave me alone, but I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me. I don't bother it. But until I start talking about it, that's when things start messing up.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Yeah.
while you were we were waiting for you to come back in again, Lady Witch was saying she obviously still wants to go. She's over in America, but Sid's in. Frida was asking if Porky and I should think, if we think we would do it. And I said, well, you've said you'd be happy to try and organise something, so it looks like Sid's up
Oh
for it
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
We
I have
definitely.
been back.
And what happened the
Yeah.
second time then?
Well, the second time I went back, basically I was there for maybe about 20 minutes. I went with a friend of mine, and I went back, and in every room I said, "Fuck you, bitch," and I left. So yeah, I don't know whether I was poking the fire now and getting my hands burned if I do go back, but we'll see.
Hmm. Now, do you believe, or what do you think about the story? Because I've heard different tales, and one theory was that this elemental
Yeah.
is the reason it manifests as the woman in red is because she was a practitioner of the dark arts. Do you believe that, or do you think that's
Oh,
just
it could be just folklore. I think she could have, been into witchcraft, and or a midwife or any of those things. But she could have been just a nasty old cow as well, to be honest. That way, who did practice medicine, and she got her name from that. But honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. But if she was material on this earth in a host body, God love whoever she took over, because her spirit was not from, it wasn't human, it wasn't from us, it wasn't from our plane. So earth, like,
it's
yeah,
it's
she
doing it
just,
now
I
while you're
can't I
talking?
can't stress.
Every other
Pardon?
word you're saying is getting cut out. Every other word, every other word.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not surprised. This happens all the time. Every time I talk about it, this happens.
It would be interesting, obviously for those in chat, because I didn't hear it. Were you in when I got the growl on my live that time, Burren?
Oh no, no, but I heard about that.
It would
Yeah.
be interesting on play because I always listen back to these lives, just to I try and give myself I have a listen to think, right, what could I have done better? And I think, oh, I should have
Yes.
shut up here, or so I do listen back to them, and that's when I heard the growl. I was like, what the fuck was that? it would be interesting to see if we have any additional audio on this come
Oh,
replay.
yeah, it would actually. Yeah, and I think the best way to do that would be put your earphones on and listen through earphones. You pick up more with your earphones on.
Julie, I do. I thought the same thing. Sorry, Julie's just put in chat because we although you'd kind of blurred yourself out, your camera
Yeah.
was active. Julie's just said we seem to have an orb on the panel. Can anyone see it? And
Oh,
Frida's just said, what's that weird thing on the screen? Yes.
oh, yeah. That's yeah. Yeah, it doesn't fit. Yeah, I'll look back on this and have a look and see see what I think it is. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me because every single time that I bring this up or talk about it, or something goes wrong, and it's always the phone or the camera, or it's always something electronic that
Yeah.
goes pear shaped, or I can't, nobody can hear me, or I can't hear them, or they can't see me, or always something goes wrong. So I'm actually surprised I got as far as I did.
No, it's I mean it's one of those things though, isn't it? It's again it's another source of electrical energy. It's
Mm,
another
mm,
source, to feed itself. Um
absolutely. Yeah.
and maybe now that you I don't know, the fact that people in chat aren't, nobody's showing any terror because it's the fear that feeds a lot of these
Oh, yeah.
entities, isn't it? You're not
Yeah.
frightened. You basically said
No.
fuck you, and yes, we'll go back. Now whether that's
Yeah.
now because you're as clear as a bell, Burren, now,
Yeah. It's fun.
whereas it's gone, I think.
Yeah. 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 You just, that word LEAP, and talking about that whole thing, it's just, yeah, that's what happens. I'm used to it. That's why I was a bit nervous at the start because I thought, oh, here we go again. I bet you this is going to start. I didn't want to say anything because I thought, well, if I say something and it doesn't happen, they'll be like, yeah, yeah, she's talking through her hours. But if I say something and it does happen, they might think I'm fecking around with my phone or whatever, So
No, no,
I tend to not. But I was kind of getting a bit nervous because I was like, oh, I'll just get the story out really quick and hopefully I can get it out and people can hear it and before anything goes wrong. So we weren't too bad. We got to near the end.
I know. I could tell you were talking quite quickly, and I'm thinking, is this nerves or is this,
Yeah. No, this
before
is
you those? Or yeah, I can understand that. I can
yeah,
understand that.
it's the whole thing, and every single time I tell that story, the same thing happens. Doesn't matter who I'm talking to or where I'm talking, even if it's just in work or anywhere, like bulbs will go or something will go. It's just I don't
It's
even
mad.
blink an eyelid at it now anymore. Not that I
Well,
talk about it a lot because
no,
I don't want to invite that around me. I don't want to invite that energy around me. But yeah, when
no.
I do, I kind of make sure I sage the house good and proper afterwards.
Well, and the other thing as well is that every time we do something like this, if we, when we were talking about Enfield again, I'm not sure if you were there. Tismy Denny and I did two parts on the Enfield poltergeist, and with that being as dark a story as it is,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
we, I offered protection.
yes,
Denny offered, religious protection. I offered it other,
yeah,
and Lady Witch always protects the whole of chat before we
yeah.
cover anything. So I know damn well that Lady Witch will have done. I know I shouldn't be
Oh, I was on
presuming.
it.
No,
I
she
was
will
on
have.
it. I was on it before I opened my mouth.
Yeah,
My thing is the blue holy light, I call it, and it's not affiliated to any particular god, but God is one energy, one source, and it can be whatever you want it to be. But it's something that I just envision everybody that's on here, that everyone that's listening here is completely safe, completely covered and protected,
yeah.
and can't be
Oh,
penetrated. So yeah.
well, I think we're well and truly protected tonight. So you've done yours. I know Lady
Oh,
Witch will have done her. Oh, there you go. Done before we even started. Lady Witch has
yep.
said that.
Good girl.
And obviously me being an Odinist, I went through the whole because it's Freya's day today. So
Oh
Goddess
yeah.
Freya, yeah,
Yeah.
and white light of the Goddess Freya. So she's keeping us all safe. So I think between us all, we've got no
Oh,
matter
we're
which
good.
religious belief we've got, we're good to go.
We're
We're good.
good.
Um,
Yeah, but I mean, I hope I didn't build it up to make it sound like it was really. It really was. If you had been there, watching something watching it back. I mean, I still look at it and go, I cannot believe that was me. I cannot believe that was me. I mean, the boys were getting so frightened. these are big men, like over 6 foot tall, muscly,
Yes.
you know, big guys. They couldn't hold me. They thought at one stage they were going to have to put me on my back on the ground and kneel on me and keep me down. That's how
Wow.
bad it got. And as I say, I'm only 5'4". I'm not a big girl, like, but yeah, it got to the point they were like, we're gonna have to put her down, we're gonna have to put her down. And hearing that and watching it, like watching their faces was horrifying, to be honest. Like, I mean, I was bad enough looking at, I mean, I didn't look too closely at me, it just frightened the life out of me, but looking at everybody else's faces and everyone crying and just up in arms, that really upset me, but I never
Didn't
ever want to see, I never want my family or my kids to see that, because it's just horrible.
did anybody notice, or this is if they said anything to you? Because I know you just said you didn't look at yourself as such.
Mm.
I'm just wondering if anybody noticed any kind of visage change. Because sometimes when there's either a spirit piggybacking
Oh yeah,
or just
yeah,
if your features changed at all, did anybody notice that?
yeah, yeah. It's funny you should say that. Yeah, I mean, a couple of them had said my face just wasn't mine. The shapes and my mouth and my jaw took on a whole different. It wasn't me. It just wasn't me. You know.
Oh,
Yeah, they were like the things that your jaw was doing, your face was doing. It was just like they were just so freaked out. And as I say, watching it back, looking at it, it was like, oh my God, I burst into tears crying. I'm not going to lie to you. I was like, Jesus Christ, what have I done to myself? What have I done? Like, but just getting over that was getting over that. It took me a bit of time, to be honest. But then, me being me, I got all pig-headed and going, oh fuck you, you're not going to get the better of me. So
oh,
off I went in the car with my friend to left. But I know that bitch, I'm going to tell her off. And that's what it
you
did.
just
Each and every room. Fuck you. Fuck.
your interference just started again. Just as you
Uh,
started that again, the electronic
yeah.
interference. Weird.
Yeah. I know. If this cuts off, I'll try and get back on again. But yeah, it's the norm. I mean, it's nothing that I can do. Every time I mention that certain place in the story, it just happens. The signal goes. I have no signal, or the battery goes. Actually, my battery is okay. It's just the signal just keeps going, disappearing on me.
Well, while you're, can you? There's a couple of people have asked in chat. Um, can you
Yeah.
describe to people what an elemental is?
An elemental is something that can take on human form, animal form, but it's not from our plane of existence. It's not human. Um, that's the only way I can describe it. I mean, I can regurgitate book for you, but the reality of being up close and personal with one is very, very different to what you'll read in the book. This thing is not human, and it has no it has no good intentions for anything or anybody. It's just rotten to the core. That's all I can say. I mean, it has the ability to be animal, or have the shape of human, or it's just horrible. It's just this blackness, this black, heavy, horrible darkness that would swallow you up if you let it. And yeah, it's just horrible. Oh, I just heard a voice in the background. I heard something there.
Oh, well, Mrs. Mercury just said she's just put in chat that sounded like a man's voice.
Yeah, yeah, I just heard something there murmuring there. It'd be actually very interesting to listen back to this. But yeah, yeah, bitch, do what you want. I'm talking about you. So
There's greater powers here than you, bitch. So
absolutely on your bike.
yeah,
But
jog on.
yeah, it's just really annoying, because every time I want to talk about this, or anytime anybody asks me to talk about it, this always happens. I always get cut off, and then sometimes I can't reconnect again. And I'm on Wi-Fi, and then my Wi-Fi will go, and then I go onto my signal on my phone, which I am, and I'm upstairs in the best spot in the house, because I had a feeling this was going to happen, and it keeps doing it, keeps going. It's very
Oh,
annoying.
Simple's just said she thought she heard someone in the background as well.
Yeah, there
Oh,
was definitely. Go ahead. Oh, you're gone.
oh,
Oh God.
back, back here.
Are you
Yeah,
back?
no,
You're back.
yeah,
Okay, gone again.
this is very strange.
Oh yeah,
This is very
yeah.
strange. Julie's just saying then similar to my story I sent Julia, love, I haven't had anything come through from you, sweetheart. If you want to try sending it again, because that email address isn't always accepting emails from everybody. Some people it does, some it doesn't. Sorry about that. Lady Witch has just put in about elementals are things that are created that, sorry, elementals are things that created our physical plane. While they are made of
Mm,
certain elements, i.e., salamanders are fire, they can be
mm,
literally anything. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But this in her human life, if you want to put it that way, it was definitely female, and
Yes.
I feel like she was the not a caretaker, but like looked after the children. God loved them. And she was she was in that castle, and it was, I don't know, I have this picture of her in my head, and on the stairs I can still see this picture in my head of her with her hands in front of her crossed on her dress, and this weird bonnet on her head, and just a scowl on her face. I mean, oh God, she hated me, like. But it's not something that I could see with my eyes. It's like a picture I'd get in my head. um
Wow.
yeah, she's just awful, horrible, horrible, horrible. Just doesn't belong here and needs to be gone.
And did you get I'm pleased if you don't want to answer this, that's absolutely fine. It's just I'm thinking things as we're going through.
Yeah.
Did you get a picture in your head of what you think the elemental looked like? And just before you answer that, there are one, two, three different people in chat are hearing things now.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, as I said, her physical form, to me, the image I got was this woman on the stairs. Oh God, creaks now. Oh, okay. Um, this woman on the stairs with this apron and a little white bonnet, and really hard poker faced, really not nice. Um,
Right.
but her animal form, I believe this thing could take on pretty much anything it wanted to.
Yeah.
Like the energy that it took in the room, oh my God, I mean, if you had seen this thing, I mean, it went back and forward and back and forward, and it was trying to get in, break that circle, and like none of us went to the loo. Like, that's how bad it was. We all stayed in that circle until morning, like. And it just, the sparks in the air of the energy of this thing, it was just the
Wow.
most freakiest thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I think that frightened me more than everything else put together, because this was something that myself and Keith, who debunks everything that we do, even though he's married to a medium, but he was standing there and he was like, "Oh my God." Yeah, I
And
was okay.
and did
And
you
I
get
didn't take
any?
my eyes off it until I saw the sun coming up, and then just sort of, it didn't go, but its energy wasn't as strong.
Julie is just saying
Can you
she
hear
can.
me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello?
I'm getting cut off. Yeah, hello,
Yeah, Julia
hello.
is just saying, yeah, hello, hello.
Yep.
Yeah,
Do
Julia
you
is
hear me?
saying she can hear somebody whispering.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, should my husband and the dog is downstairs. We're the only two people in the house, and out this, which never happens.
Right.
I'm hearing creaks and floorboards going, and it's every single time I talk about this place, this happens, and every
Yeah,
single time I talk about that particular resident, this happens. So,
that's weird. And
uh,
Lady Witch says it sounds like something being dragged across the floor.
yeah, yeah. I've heard some
Wow.
really weird things on the phone, like when I've been chatting to other people, and as I said, we've done all our groundwork, putting protection on everybody, but I mean, uh, some people don't want it or accept it. They want to see what will happen, which is a bit crazy. And yeah, they don't have a good experience.
No, well, that's reckless, isn't it?
It's
If
idiotic.
protection is offered, you take it. It's not going to
Yes.
lessen your experience. It's just going to lessen the negativity that might attach itself to you or do you some harm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, okay, we all might start off going, "Oh, no, 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 I want to experience it," the first time around. You won't do it a second time. You
Oh my
really
God.
won't. You
Did anybody else just hear that?
I got cut off. Am I gone
Mrs.
again?
Mercury Mrs. Mercury just said she can hear a few grunts. I just heard something then that I cannot tell. That sounded like a a bark or something, just like a. I haven't heard anything up to now,
Oh
Burren,
wow.
and I've literally just heard. That's why I stopped and said, "Has anybody just heard that?" And I need to make a point of the time. I'm just gonna put Joe's comment up just so that I can go back. Julia says she can hear grunts.
Oh
I
well.
heard it just sounded like a barky yap, but
Oh
away. That was weird.
right. Yeah.
Oh,
I heard mumbling earlier on. I heard definitely like a male mumbling earlier on, and then I heard like something else, but nothing like. I mean, standard for me, to be honest.
yeah.
When only when I talk about this place, but yeah, yeah. I'll have to go back over this now and put my earphones in and have a good listen and see what I can find.
Yeah, I'll get Porky to go through this because he's got it's something on his computer and he can cut out, different background
Oh,
noises on a
isolate. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
so
that's
and
cool.
he
Yeah, I'd be really interested in seeing what he finds.
yeah, because he did that with the one where I had the growl. Now, bear in mind, I was just chatting away. I didn't break my
Yeah.
stride in the conversation, and then this
Mm,
growl was there. And when we went back, because people were thinking it was Cooper, my dog, and I said no, he was actually asleep when this happened. He didn't make a noise.
yeah.
And then Lady Witch went back to listen, and she said you could hear Cooper breathing or
Yeah.
snoring, whatever he was doing. But then you
Mm,
heard this growl, and Porky managed to, and he said, "Yeah, you can hear Cooper and the growl and me talking," and it was kind of in the background. But Bedtime Clown said that the way I was talking like this, and then he said I kind of went. I don't know if you heard that, as though I turned my head. He said it was like
okay.
subconsciously you knew somebody else or something else was there, even though you didn't because your head turned. And he said I could hear that your voice just went slightly, but as this growl occurred, that was scary. It
Wow.
was,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
because a couple of weeks later, again, I'm not sure if you're around for that, but I got stung. I'm allergic to stings. I stood on a damn wasp that had been, I think it had been hibernating in my Christmas tree. And I went to get I was in my bare feet as usual. I went to get my
Yeah.
EpiPen and couldn't find it.
Oh.
And then I could feel my throat closing. So I got in the car, panic struck, screwing through town to get to the
Oh,
local hospital. I was kept in for, I think, about 4 hours in total. When I
yeah.
came home, so I was alive that night,
Uh-huh.
I found my EpiPen in the place it should have been.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, did I just not see it because I was in a panic? Well, no, because I know that that's a lifesaver. Or was
Yeah.
whatever this thing was that's been growling and making noises, had it moved it? And that worried me because I thought that was actually potentially life threatening. Wasn't someone
Yeah.
holding a knife to my throat, but I could have actually died.
Same thing.
Worst scenario, yeah.
Your life once your life is at risk or threatened, it's like, well,
Mhm.
this is serious. I don't really think a lot of people understand, and even with a lot of TV shows as well. When people are calling out, "Oh, is there anybody there?" When that's playing loudly or just when at normal volume, when that's playing in your house, they're calling out in your house. I don't think
Yeah.
people realize that.
Uh-huh.
And then they're wondering, oh, all sorts of things happened when I was watching this program or that program. Well, yeah, they're
Yeah.
calling out. They may be in a different place, but their voices are coming through in your play in your sitting room in your home, like
Never thought of
and
that.
yeah, and I hear an awful lot of this. you know, oh, everything was fine until I watched blah de blah. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm not surprised. You know, people don't, yeah, people just don't think. You know, I mean,
No,
like this stuff is dodgy. Like you really have to be careful what you're doing. I learned the hard way.
yeah, Lady Witch is agreeing with you there 100%. Now,
Yeah.
again, going back to the creature beginning with an E that I'm not going to mention because I don't want you to lose connection again. Did did you get the smell that accompanies it?
You know, I didn't. I
Hmm.
really didn't. The thing that I smelled, and we all had our own weird, funny smells that we got. I mean, sometimes I smelled baby powder, and then I smelled this metallic-y. And as I said, I didn't want to say it at the seance. I was like, oh God. But one of the lads said, Jesus, lads, I smell blood. And I was like, oh God, I'm glad you said that because so do I. But nobody else did. Nobody else could get it, you know? So that was the only smell that I got. The baby powder, and the blood. They were the only two things that I smelled. Um, but everything else was just, it was, yeah, it was a rough night. It was a really rough night. I mean, I couldn't wait to get out there in the morning. We had to finish filming up and wrapping up our equipment and everything. But yeah,
And have other members of your group, have they gone back, or have well, sorry, have some of your members who were there that night said absolutely no way will I ever set foot over this threshold again, and have others, again like yourself, gone back, or are you the only one? Oh, I think we've lost poor Burren again. Oh, well,
I
I'll
don't
just keep.
know.
Oh, hello, got you back.
I don't think anybody has gone back.
Just you. Oh, I think we're going in and out.
Hello,
Yeah, Lady Witch is
hello.
saying it. Hello, can you hear us?
Yeah,
We think the E doesn't want you to answer any questions.
I know, I know, I know. I'm getting that vibe.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
bit annoying.
do you do you want to carry on going on here, or because I'm just thinking about yourself, and obviously, if you feel at any point that you might need to go and give yourself a bit of extra protection, I do not mind closing the chat. Well, closing the panel down. It's not a
Yeah, I
problem.
think I might, just purely because it's kind of coming on quite a lot, like it's
Yes,
breaking up, and yeah, there's kind of a bit too much kind of happening for my comfort. So I
no
think I might
problem.
shut down if that's okay.
No, that's absolutely fine. And then, are you okay you're safe over there? Come
Oh
in,
yeah,
chat.
yeah, yeah. No,
People
fine.
can ask a few questions. Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no bother at all. Yeah,
Brilliant.
perfect.
Thank you so much. Go and protect yourself, and we'll see you back in
No
chat in a
bother.
second, darling. Thank
Okay,
you
back
so
in a
much.
few. No
Okay.
problem. Back in a few. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Bye. Wow. That's all I'm going to say for everybody is wow. And thank you so much, Burren Witch, for coming up and telling that. But as you can all hear, um, you know, things are escalating slightly for Burren Witch. So it's much better for her and safer if she just comes back into chat. And especially as people are hearing all sorts of things, you know, I only heard the one thing, but I could see the rest of you saying you could hear, like Lady Witch could hear something sounding like it was being dragged, and a few of you hearing grunts and whispering and mumbling. That is really freaky. But wasn't it funny every time that particular entity was mentioned, that Burren Witch would start getting the electronic voice and a lot of interference. Whereas just general chatting, it wasn't having that effect. Yeah, Joe, thank you, Burren, very, very much. I've been dying to hear that story. Burren Witch, wow, thank you for your story. Yes, Frida. Reminding later to see it again. Yeah, it's do you know, I'm actually enjoying these with having channel members true stories. Like we did Lady Witch last week, and then we've had Burren Witch this week. Yeah, Julie, I'm sure she will be. It's just obviously, these things. They draw their energy. They draw their energy from a lot of different areas, don't they? The electronics, they can draw it from fear. They can draw it from negative thoughts. So, even if one person in chat is feeling scared, it could draw from that. So, yeah, and we don't want Burren Witch being on the receiving end of any of that negativity. So, yeah, once she's protected herself, she will come back in. Yeah, Green Eyes. It's really, really good. I enjoyed that because Lep is somewhere, as scared as I may be, that I really, really would love to visit. I mean, hearing that, I don't think that I would want to be inside the castle in the dark. Hiya, Sheila, love. How are you? So sorry I'm late. Friday's always busy for me. I'll rewatch to hear Burren's story. Seems is a must watch for later, but scary too. Yes, it is. Although there's been some interference, Sheila, which we think is that particular spirit not wanting to be discussed. So that's why Burren Witch has gone off panel, and she will come back into chat to answer some questions if anybody has any. So, feel free, throw some questions out to Burren Witch. Danny, that was awesome and scary at the same time. I know, Danny, and if I don't know if you've ever watched any of the documentaries or the ghost hunts that have been held at Lep Castle. It's spelled Leap, but it's pronounced Lep. In Southern Ireland, it's County Offaly in Southern Ireland. But yeah, you should watch those. It's a very, very scary place. And Burren Witch is the only person I know who's ever been there. So I was made up that she came up and told her story. I mean, it's very hard to try and relay when you've been that terrified. If a few of you may remember when I was relaying the story that I had about what happened to me up in Scotland when I was at my dad's, and that is probably about the most frightened I have ever been in my life. I don't ever want to feel like that again. But to try and relay it, it just sounded like I was telling a bit of a random story. It's really hard to get that across. Now, having been in not the same situation, but a similar situation of abject terror, I can fully empathise with Burren Witch. And other people who've had like simples, you've had similar experiences where you've been really frightened. You can fully empathise. Burren must be very brave. She's got bloody cojones of the size of an elephant, Sheila. The history, it was built, I think, was it 14th or 15th century? So it's either 500 or 600 years old, simples, and it was. Oh, I'll have to wait for Burren to come back in unless anybody else wants to Google it in the meantime. I think it was the O'Connells or O'Donnells. I'm sure it was O'Connells. And the castle was built for them. Now, part of the history that hiya, Burren Witch, welcome back. The just Simples was just asking about the history of Lep, and obviously everybody else has really enjoyed it. You may or may not be able to go back through the live chat. What were we looking at when the camera was on? Well, Simples, I'm not so sure. I thought I'd seen an orb, as did Julia, as did was it Frida and Green Eyes as well? Joe, I've had terrifying experiences, but not as extreme as Burren Witch. Absolutely terrifying. The thing is, though, it's subjective, isn't it, Joe? You know, we all have our own terrifying experiences, and um, it, nobody's are any worse than anybody else's. It's just what you're going through at that particular time in that particular place. Burren Witch says, "Oh God, it's got a terrible history. The wars, the IRA burning it down. Yeah, yeah, and all the 2 cartloads of bones were brought out from the bloody chapel Simples where the oubliette was. Um, and as Burren Witch mentioned, when it was, I think it was the O'Connell clan, they invited a rival clan for dinner. This is one of the stories that I do know. And as Burren Witch explained, and rightly so, while they were feasting, they'd poisoned them all. So, by poisoned, i.e., drugged, and then proceeded to murder the entire family, this clan that had been invited to a feast. So there was a lot of, skullduggery and deviousness going on. And I mean, maybe that all contributes to this elemental spirit, the murders and the intrigue and everything else that's gone on. Plus, what was there prior to Lep Castle being erected? You don't know what's in a particular place. Dark deeds done under cover of darkness, no matter what age they are, is going to leave a stain on the land. And then you come along and you build a castle and carry on with those dark deeds. It just adds to that negativity, doesn't it? There's a void of darkness, maybe. Danny says, I've never heard of Lep Castle until today. I'm going to research it a bunch now. It's really interesting, Danny. Really interesting. Sheila says, hello, Burren. I'm going to listen later. Love, I've just joined chat and don't want to miss you telling about it. Bones, yep, there was horrible murders. Yeah, there was, and then there was, I'd heard about, was it a child, little girl who'd fallen from the ramparts of the castle? I'd heard about that one. I'd heard about the elemental thing, the lady in red, the priest. What else did I hear about? There wasn't now. I only heard it on this one particular ghost hunt, and I've never heard it confirmed anywhere else. So I don't know if this was just them. I can't even remember which group it was that did it, but they'd gone along and they'd filmed at Lep, and they were saying the medium that was with them said that they saw this emaciated, skeletal looking man trying to crawl out of the floor, as though he was coming from the oubliette. Now, I've not heard anybody else mention this though, so whether that was fanciful or whether it was real and just nobody else has experienced it, I don't know. Sibish says, hey, Burren Witch, thanks for telling that story. It was fab and you told it very well. She said she told it very, very well. And I don't think you can beat a good tale told in an Irish accent. If she felt like she was walking on dirty floors, could have been mud in the past on them. Yes. Let me just see what else I've missed. I just wish I could relax and tell it better. No, Burren, honestly, you told that brilliantly. It was really, really interesting. And I think as well, because you sounded, um, I didn't know that there was any anxiety there just in case what happened. Um, but I thought, like when you were speeding it up, I just thought you were a little nervous of having, um, of being on panel and maybe reliving what you had already described as being quite a traumatic experience for you. Just mindful of what could happen when I tell it. Yeah, and that is going to cause a level of anxiety, isn't it? So, would anybody else like to ask Burren any more questions about Lep? Or any of, because I mean she's done other investigations as well, and as brave as she is, doing solo walkthroughs of old asylums and things like that. Yes, yeah, Burren Witches, you've seen it happens. We absolutely have seen it happens. Simple says, enjoyed that muchly, Burren. You told it absolutely fine. Don't worry about how you sounded. I didn't even notice you were speeding up. You did really well, even with your interference. Yeah, yes, she did. Simples. It was great. You should be nervous, and it's authentic, and that's from Joe. Yeah, and you can't help it because when you're reliving something that's scary, you do automatically. Even if you try and stay calm, it's a reflex action, isn't it? Your adrenaline will start to increase. Your anxiety levels will start to increase, especially as Burren said, this happens every single time she tries to tell the story. It's hard to keep on track when you know things are starting to happen. And well, honestly, Burren, I wouldn't have known. You were telling the story the same as my very first time on panel. I was talking very, very quickly and not pausing for breath. That was purely because I was nervous. I'd never been on a live show before, and I was like, oh God. So it to me was no different to that. Now in hindsight, yes. Lady Witch, I enjoyed it immensely, Burren. I'd rather listen to true stories over canned scary stuff anytime. Well, absolutely, Lady Witch. And obviously, Julia's shared, she's tried to email me some. I know that she'd said she thought Porky would enjoy um, seeing this stuff. But I really wouldn't mind trying to get people to come up. And it doesn't have to be paranormal stories, it can be anything. Um, yes, I do, Julia. I don't take anything down, love. And for the record, the spirits here enjoyed it too. Well, has anybody noticed that normally when we're talking about paranormal shizzle, what does the old coopster normally do? He's usually barking at the ceiling, and he actually hasn't tonight. For whatever reason, he's flaked out on the carpet, full stretch, as though he's sunbathing. That's unheard of with this dog. So I don't know whether that was my Freya's protection that's worked. I've got no idea. Or maybe my barky growly demon has realised it's come up against a power that's more intimidating than itself, and it's just fucked off for the evening to leave me to it. Reliving something as traumatic as that will inevitably raise your vibration level and maybe recreate some of the anxiety. Oh yes, Sid. Now that is a good point. He's knackered from packing. He's packed nothing, the little shite. Yeah, absolutely nothing like people's true stories. Yeah. So I think I need to make this, I absolutely need to make this at least a weekly thing, don't I? A true story. Because we need Green Eyes' true story. We've got Julia's true story. We've got Raven when she's feeling up to it. With her Bigfoot story. I know Joe's got some stories, you know. Demon and E are planning a date. Well, yeah, I hope they. Yeah, but imagine that, Lady Witch, if they do hit it off, we could have little demony babies. We don't want those. Are you in your new home yet, Kiss? No, Sheila. We've got the van coming on Monday, and we shall be moving. Well, we're taking things to the tip that nobody wants, and then when we've done that, we're coming back in the van, and we are taking my furniture to Casa Porquet. So this house, fingers crossed, should be virtually empty by Monday night. That's what I'm hoping. Oh, Burren, no need to thank. You know we've all been dying to hear your story. The moment you mentioned that you'd been to Lep, everybody was like on it like a gin and tonic because they wanted to hear what you had to say. So I'm just really grateful that you came up and you've chosen my channel to come up and tell us all about it. And if ever you've got any other stories that you want to share, about any more of your your investigations, please come up and tell us, because I can't get enough of these, and I think they have got a good it's content that people enjoy, isn't it? We all like a bit of history, we all like a bit of gossip, as you do. Even drama has its place on YouTube, but I don't think you can beat a good scary story, and especially a true good scary story. Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, we had Frida. Well, it wasn't a feeble ghost story. We've had Frida as well. Julia, my son says it will help me come up on panel if you want, and I will read it for you all. Oh, do you want to do that now, Julia, or do you want to do that on another evening? Because I don't mind giving you an evening to yourself, but I'm happy to do it tonight if you want. I'll keep chatting till you come back to me in chat, because we are on a bit of a delay. Can't wait to go back over this to see what we can pick up. I don't know if I want to, Burren Witch. I might just leave Porky to do that. I haven't told this online ever before because of what happens. Oh, really? Said I've got a couple of occurrences that have happened over the years. Nothing particularly scary, but undoubtedly weird. Yeah, well, again, I'm happy for I'm happy to anytime we can either do an open panel night. Maybe the next one we could just do open panel. Everybody who's got a story, come up and have your half an hour slot, whatever you want to tell your story, and then you're not feeling obliged to stay up on panel and keep chatting. Brilliant, Julie. Annie, it's up to you. Well, I'm happy to. You don't think you can re-listen, Green Eyes? Well, are we all up for having Well, are we all up for Julia coming up? Yeah. Let's send the link. Copy to clipboard. Right. I've popped the link in there, Julia love. You have a click on that, and we can get your story told as well. Sheila, oh, Green Eyes, is that scary? Maybe I should listen in the morning. Then I'm chicken. Yeah, Sheila, there were people were hearing things while Burren was talking, because there was a bit of activity occurring. Oh yes, Julia, everybody's wanting to listen to it. So yeah, I mean, I will not be listening to it tonight, I can tell you that much. I'll do it tomorrow. But once this live is finished tonight, that will be it. I'll be promising you that much. So just while we're waiting for Julie to come up, I've got the worst belly watch ever. If anybody doesn't know what belly watch is, ask Green Eyes and ask Julia, because they'll know. I was just a bit hacked off before, and I went to the Co-op for some milk, and they had their own ice cream on special offer, salted caramel. So I got a tub of it, and I ate the whole lot. And now, oh God, I'm griping like a mofo. Oh, we've got Julia. Hang on. Before I bring you up, Julia, love, if you're not happy to be seen on panel, you can cover your camera up. Only because at the minute or angle your device, just in case. I forgot to mention that to you. Right, let's see. And
Hello?
come up on panel, Julia.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear us? Or can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Brilliant. I just thought when I realised backstage I hadn't mentioned, yeah, you can turn your camera off, because I don't like being seen live either.
Do you want me to start?
Yes, you crack on. You tell us your story, lovey.
It's called Salisbury Hall. Me and
Okay.
my family, because I've already printed it off. I've put me and my family visited Salisbury Hall for the first time. We had no idea of its history, apart from the White Lady and the fact that Edward VIII had stayed there. There was a lady and gentleman sat at a desk in the entrance hall, but they did not speak with us at that time. They only nodded. They were talking to someone else. In our party, there was me, my husband, my 21-year-old son, my sister and her husband, who was visiting us from the USA. My husband is a wheelchair-bound adult, so he could only use the lower half of the house, and he stayed downstairs. The rest of the party went upstairs, and that's when the fun started. As we were looking around the bedroom, my son started to complain. He did not feel well. So we started to make our way back towards the stairs. As we got into the long gallery room upstairs, my son then fell to the floor. He was holding his leg, and he said he could not walk. He was in pain in his head and his knee. He was feeling like he was going to be sick, and he started to cry. Because we were upstairs, he managed to shuffle on his bum to the stairs. He came down each step on his bum, and as we reached the bottom of the stairs, the lady said, "Oh my God, what's happening here?" We explained, and we all tried to help him, but he was still crying. So we were very concerned, as he is an epileptic, and we thought he was going to have a seizure. So we decided to use the wheelchair to get him back to the car. My brother-in-law took my husband to the car and brought the wheelchair back for my son. But while we was waiting for the wheelchair, the gentleman that was there giving a tour joined us at the foot of the stairs and started to tell us this looked like it was a possession of a gentleman who was shot in the house, and that it had happened to a lot of others before. We put my son in the wheelchair to take him to Preston Royal. But before we got to the car park, the pain had subsided, he was no longer feeling ill, and he was very much back to normal.
No.
He said he would never ever enter the hall again, and he believes the man was right, as he never feels pain with his seizures, only happens if he damages himself during having one. I believed him, as I have never seen this lad cry as an adult before or since. Thank you for listening.
Wow. Oh my goodness. And did
So
this
it's very, very similar.
and did this say where, and they were saying about it sounded like a possession. did they say where this fella had been, the spirit of the gentleman who'd obviously died, where he'd been shot, like in his body? Did they mention that? Like, were it a leg, a back, a neck, arm, whatever?
He said he'd committed suicide in the upstairs gallery,
Oh, right.
but he was messing with the gun or something first, and he shot himself in the knee.
Oh,
And they told me his name, but because of what was going on at the time, I was trying to get my son out of there and get to hospital, but I forgot what name he said it was.
that's worth a Google, isn't it? Having a little look on Google to see if that's really scary, that.
I've gone back and actually looked at I watched some history of it. There's an actual bullet hole above the fireplace. Now,
my son said he's Googled it, and he said there is a bullet in the fireplace, a mark in the fireplace where the bullet came out of his head.
Oh, all right. Because I heard your son kind of telling me faintly in the background. I was just about to ask, was that from the shot to the knee or from where he killed himself? So yeah, you've answered that one. Oh my goodness.
From his head, I think.
Oh, Simples are just saying, how old is your son? Did he say 21?
He was 21 at the time. He's 25 now. He's 27 now, sorry. Sorry, 27. I do have a few kids.
All right. 27 Simples. What else has anybody seen? Sheila said that was crazy, very shocking, and a bit scary still for your son. It's something you're not going to get over quickly.
Never forget. He just said he'll never forget it.
I'm shaking now and just talking about it.
Oh, are you?
I never ever will go back. Never mind it.
But I think it's scary though. It's obviously scary having it happen to you, but then to have somebody say, "Oh, I think that's a possession," that just adds to the shock, doesn't it, of what's going on?
But he was still in control of himself. He knew who he was and everything. He was just getting the symptoms.
Just had the pain in my knee, and it started with the pain in me.
He was still talking to us and everything.
It was like it was happening to me.
Yeah, he said it just felt like it was happening to him.
Like it started with the pain in my knee, and then I started feeling dizzy and sick and lightheaded, and then I got pain on the top, back of my head, and then the pain under my throat, and I just fell to the floor.
Oh my God!
I remember getting down the stairs and going, "No, that's the only bit I don't remember." I just remember being outside in the wheelchair.
And can I just ask then for your son? So obviously you still stayed the same, and you were able to talk and what have you. You had the pain in your knee, you had the sickness, the pain in your head. Mm-hmm. Did you still feel that you were in the same place in the same time, or did you get any of these kind of, because sometimes when people have a bit of a possession, they feel like they've slipped back into the time?
The only thing I felt like I was like taller. I don't know, it was weird. Like I felt bigger than who I were. Like,
right.
I was weird. I didn't.
And he's quite a big lad to start with.
That's the only feeling I got. Like I was bigger than who I were, and I just wanted to get out. That's the only thing I could. I was panicking to get out. I didn't want to be in. And I remember going to the top of the stairs. And then from there, I don't remember. And I don't also remember the guy coming over saying that to you about the possession. I remember you saying something, and I Googled it, and he's right, it did happen. It is marked in the history. But.
And so Julia, did you, when you were looking at your son, did you notice any change to him? Like when we were talking to Burren Witch then, and people had noticed a change to her face when
he just looked really sad.
Right.
Really, really sad. And he was crying. And it was, I know that sounds bad, but the crying upset me more than the pain that we were in. Well, because that shocked me more.
Yeah, and I suppose as well, though, you're out on a family day out, aren't you? Which is a happy occasion. You've got your relatives from America, who you've obviously, you don't see them every week, do you not? So it's a happy occasion. You're on a nice day out. So I suppose to then
Oh,
suddenly get these terrible feelings of sadness and looking so sad, that's another massive shock as well, isn't it?
Yeah. He's just said he felt embarrassed.
Oh, did you, love? Oh,
mm.
oh,
When,
that's
when I fell on the floor and people, there was another two,
There were a
an
couple.
old lady and a man
Yeah, there were a couple.
upstairs, and they were like staring at her.
There was a
And
couple watching
because
what were going on.
to me, at the first, I actually thought I was going to have a fit. That's what I thought was happening at
I
first.
thought he worked first.
And I was like,
yeah.
I need to go. But I didn't know what was happening.
God, and
And
that, like your mum said, isn't what normally happens if you're having a fit, is it not? You don't get that.
No. And then after thinking about it, after what that's not what was happening. And then researching what actually was there, and it played out exactly because he shot himself on the top of the stairs. And as soon as I stepped on the top of the stairs, I got the pain in my knee. And then it's
God.
just gotten worse and worse.
And have you had any experiences like that anywhere else? Just wondering if
Yeah.
your sons are sensitive, you know, maybe you have got some abilities like Burren Witch. She doesn't describe herself as a psychic, but
Yeah,
she's
I have
sensitive.
had other things
Do you want to tell us
different
any?
places.
You used
Have
to
you-
invoice it.
Like, I hear like people like voice conversations that are not meant for me. Like I'm not involved in the conversation. There's no one else there,
Right.
and it's just random, like about just random stuff and things. And when I'm like in a quiet room, I imagine that I get feeling and scenarios of what's happened, and I don't know whether it's from where it is in that room
Hmm.
or it's like something's happened there, and it's like playing in my mind.
So you can sense it.
Yeah, I can sense what's happened.
Gosh. Now I wonder, do
My
you
mate, I was in my mate's house one day, and his grandma hung
Herself.
herself on the stairs
Yeah.
before he was born, and I was walking down the stairs, and I felt something tap me on the back. I turned around and I seen her like, on the stairs behind me,
Get
but
off.
she weren't hanging or anything. She was just stood there. And I said, "Who's the woman on the stairs?" She's like, "She looks like frail. Is she alright?" And she said, "What did she look like?" And I explained what she looked like a little old lady in like a blouse, like a
Yeah.
pinkish blouse. And his mum just started crying and ran out of the room.
Oh my goodness.
He said, "That's my mum."
I am.
Yeah, that was his name, Edward.
What was his last name?
You see,
Looking. His girlfriend's looking for it now. She's googling it.
Burren, I don't know if you can see the chat, but Burren Witch is saying, "Oh, bless him, I've had that happen at the start." You see, I'm just going to throw something out there. There used to be a woman that we went to. Me and my friend. She was a Wiccan, but she also used to do tarot readings, and she was a medium as well. And my friend used to go to her a lot. I'd go along with her because she wanted to get in touch with her. Her father was deceased. And that particular medium, she was telling us she was an epileptic lady. And she said, as she were getting older, she didn't have any psychic abilities, shall we say, that she was aware of as a child. But as she got older, she started having the epileptic fits following. She'd had a traumatic accident, and following that, she'd got the epilepsy, and she reckoned that having those fits had awoken something in her brain.
Let me tell you, he's never been epileptic all the time until he reached 18, and then he started having fits, and then that's when all this started.
Yeah.
I was 20 when I saw my mate's grandma, and that happened. And then,
but he didn't have fits as a child. It's only come on in later life, like when he was 20 or 18, I think you were when you had your first one, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if that's activated something, because obviously when you're having with the epilepsy, that causes it. It's the nerves in the brain are all awake, aren't they? And they're going into overdrive, and that could just open a channel up to, yeah, wow. Oh, Burren Witch is just saying, has your son ever had a blessing and a clearing?
Has he?
Yeah.
No, we're not into it like that, really.
Right.
He just said the only thing he likes is Buddhism. He started wanting to learn about Buddhism after that.
Yeah. Well, one good thing is, which isn't, it's not into the old, because I know a lot of people aren't into Wiccan or paganism or whatever, but, well, Burren Witch said that might be worth looking into, but saging.
Yeah,
Get
sage.
some
I know
sage,
about sage.
sage yourself,
But
sage the house and sage yourself, keep everything nice and clean and light.
We'll have a go.
I've had priests tell me that I'm not allowed in churches and things, and I'm not at my nephew's christening. On the way out, the priest was shaking everyone's hand, and he looked at me and he said, "You're the spawn of the devil. Get out my church."
He never did.
He did.
The old
my,
guy.
my brother, my cousin, and my girlfriend at the time was witnesses to it, and he was like proper mad, and he didn't want me in there, and he wouldn't touch me, he wouldn't come near me, and he just had hold of his cross.
You do have a funny look, though.
But I've had, like, if I'm in a dark room, I see shadows and things in the room. And there was one night I was laid in bed, and there was a shadow behind my curtain. And as I stood up, it walked through me. And as it walked through me, I got thrown across the room. Like,
I don't have any of this.
I went
Happened to me.
I went over the corner of the bed and landed on the floor.
Oh, well,
And
there's a few.
Ever since, I don't sleep in the dark.
No, I don't sleep in the dark, and he has to have a telly on.
I researched into it, and someone was talking about shadow people and things. And
Yeah.
I did buy some spiritual sage off eBay.
Yeah.
And they told me there was like a leaflet in it, and it told you how to do it. Like, go to each corner of the room, go over the doorways and the windows, and sit in the middle of the room burning sage. And I did that, and I've never had anything else in there since.
In your bedroom?
In my bedroom. Nothing had ever happened since.
Do it regular. Every time, if ever I felt negative, especially like with that growl that happened, I know it was before your mum started joining in on our channel, but before Christmas, and all these guys can tell you because they all heard it, something growled down my phone. I were talking, my dog were asleep. I absolutely, oh God, I was so scared. I mean, you can go back and listen to it and you can hear how terrified I was afterwards, the next day. And I saged everywhere. The minute you feel any kind of negativity, do a bit of saging. And Burren Witch just said then that in your bedroom, she put no clutter in your bedroom and no electronics for a while. That'll also help.
He is 27.
No. But Joe Mardre is saying as well, because Joe's over in California, she said, I learned protection and cleansing. I got interested in Buddhism at his age. I've been called a witch all my life. You're okay.
My sister's in California.
Oh, right. Oh, there you go, Joe. Julia's sister's out in your neck of the woods.
She lives in Riversdale.
I don't know where that is. I can wait for
Ontario, California.
Wait for Joe to come back in because Joe always tells us about the redwoods, but
she's not that. She's more over like the San Bernardino Mountains area.
Oh, okay.
Los Angeles.
There was also another thing that happened recently to do with my girlfriend, but it weren't me this time. We were sat in a room listening on the radio, and the music was playing. and while the music was playing, you could still hear the music. The radio, in an angry man's voice, came over them and went, "Damn that!" Over the radio. You could still hear the music. Yeah. And after that, she asked her gran, why did the radio say that? Her gran's actually related to the Dem Dark Witch.
Oh my word.
Her actual ancestor.
Is that the Pendle
The
Witches?
Pendle Witch. Her gran.
The people that are listening will not understand.
Her great grandma of her is actually one of the Dem Dark sisters.
I didn't even
She's
know they are. Heard that name.
Do you know the baker? One of the witches is what Pendle Witches is baker.
I don't know.
Yeah,
She had a name change. Well,
God.
and that actually weird. Our grandma said our ancestry is related to the Dem Dark Witches,
which is the Pendle Witches of England,
of Lancashire.
Well, that's actually something that they all know about in here, because I covered the Pendle Witches, and we went through it all. You know, I think we did it for, was it Halloween, guys? I can't remember. But yeah, went through all of the Pendle Witches and what happened with the trial, and Janet Device, who kind of, so they all know. Even the people over in America are familiar with it. So yeah, they'll know about old Demdike.
Well, we've got a relative of theirs. I've got a relative of theirs, a descendant.
Oh right, no. Yeah, we had a lot of us were on the side of the Pendle Witches. We didn't believe that there was witches.
I don't think anybody does believe there were witches now, do they?
I believe they were spiritual people,
or herbalists or something.
And because of the way the way what happened to them, the energy that's left behind is negative toward people, because the people threaten evil.
Maybe.
That's the way I believe it.
I mean, I think listening to, you know, what people had said, contemporary tales, I think that old Demdike was probably and sorry, I'm going to speak ill of the dead, but I'm going to do it in a nice way, because I am on your side, love, if you're listening. I think she was probably like a neighbour from hell who realised that if she could scare people into giving her a few bob, because they were beggars, weren't they, for the most part. I think that she probably played on fearing people if they got in a way, and getting things through that. And I think that was probably, I think the worst case scenario, you could probably say she were maybe a cantankerous old bugger who got a bit of
right there.
folk, but yeah, but didn't mean she were a witch. But obviously, you know, like you said, the negativity around that, you know, how those ladies were treated, and the husbands as well, because it was the whole, you know, it wasn't just the witches, the women that they killed, was it? People forget that there were men involved as well. So it's it's a shame.
I didn't know there were men involved.
Yeah, just a couple of the husbands. Where who was it now? Oh God, can any of you guys remember which of the witches? Which of the witches? I think it was
Alice Nutter.
Alice. I was going to say, was it Alice Nutter? It was her. I think it was her daughter and her son-in-law.
There's also Elizabeth as well.
She's saying Alice and Elizabeth.
No, Alice and Nutter.
Alice
and Elizabeth Device. The relations. They've got relations on both sides.
Yeah.
Well,
a lot of them were quite closely related. Oh, Burren Witch is just saying here, because obviously you heard what happened while Burren was telling her story. And she's just here, I can't believe this stream didn't mess up once. Isn't that funny? You're telling your tale.
You're okay.
It seems to mess up every time I'm not in the room. Or who's not in the room.
No, it's because of the lady was possessed. The lady that was talking.
She's talking about a different story. The lady before was possessed before, and something happened while she was telling her story.
And I just said to him,
after the laugh,
do you want to look?
Go back and watch the video.
I've got them all interested now, Kiss.
Well, Sheila's just saying here, she said, Julia, you must ask your son to sub to the channel now. He's amongst friends and very welcome. And the thing is, there's quite a lot of people on here, although this isn't what I do.
Don't ask me to say a last name.
Pardon?
He said, "What's the channel called?" I said, "Don't ask me to say a last name."
It's Kiss My Axe, the Skaldmere. But if you just put Kiss My Axe, and you can probably see my photograph on there. In fact, can somebody drop me link for me channel in, please, into chat, and then Julia's son can see it. But yeah, because there's a lot of people on here. Although I cover the supernatural side of things sometimes. I do a lot of history.
He
But
watches a lot of paranormal from somewhere.
If we're talking about supernatural things, there's something that happened to me and my friend when we was kids, and I've still got the
And
scars
save that
today.
for another time. They're probably fed up listening to us
But
now.
I've still got the scars today on the back on my back.
there's well, if you want to sub, oh brilliant, thank you guys. 3 people have put the link into this channel, so you're very welcome. Click on it, sub, and then whenever we're doing any of these, you're very welcome to come in and chat. You can come up on panel, but if you need any advice, shall we say, there's a lot of people in the chat here who can give you advice, like Burren Witch. We've got Lady Witch, who's over in America, Joe Mardre's in California, Simples. A lot of people have got a lot of experience, so they can help you.
I don't think I can see the chat.
Oh, Joe Mardre's put Porky's paranormal too. I don't know where he is tonight, Joe. My other half. He's probably. I sent him back to his with a load of my clothes out the wardrobe, so he's probably. Hopefully, he's not trying my frocks on. I'd be a bit worried.
Are you fed up of my chatting now? So I go back down into chat.
Oh no, not at all. You're very welcome. Well, you can do whatever you like. Either stay up or go back into chat. It's not a problem. But anytime you want to come up, do what the others do. Just if you're in the chat and you've out to say, just go drop us the link, and I'll throw it down, and you can come up. But yeah, do tell your son he's very welcome anytime he wants to come in.
Kiss, I think he wants to tell you something.
Oh, come on then.
But it's extraterrestrial, and I think I know what he's going to say. I think he's going to tell you the same story that I told you because he was in the car with me.
Oh, on the M65 tail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
what? There's that one, and there's one what happened to me when I was 11 years old, and I still got the scars on my back now.
Was that to follow you around as well, don't they?
They follow me. Yeah, they do follow me.
They follow him as well. He was the one in the car with me on the M65 when we saw the lights in the sky.
On the M65, it was New Year's Eve, and we was driving to go and see my dad in hospital.
I think
and there was blue, like thousands of blue orbs in the sky, and they were like all dancing around. Like it looked like they were either like having a party and like hitting each other and separating into like smaller ones, and then gathering back together into bigger ones and hitting each other. And then we turned away, and they started to like go behind us, and then we started to notice that like blue lights behind us getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And I said, and like we seen one like jump across like the road, and I said, and I wasn't sure, so I looked at my mum, and I seen like she was looking, and she weren't sure herself. I said, "Did you actually see that?" And she went, "Yeah, I saw it, but what were it?" I said, "I don't know. I think it was either a white mist." And then as I said the white mist, another one came back.
Yeah.
What is happening? And we've got like a panoramic sunroof on the car. I opened the sunroof, and there was 5 of these glowing blue balls whizzing round the top of our car, following us. I'm talking like 12 inches above the car. See-through blue balls just like whizzing round in a circle, making a very, very faint humming noise.
And did you have any time loss?
We don't.
I don't think so.
I don't think so, but we tried to speed up, didn't we?
I did, yeah.
Because
Put my foot down.
You were panicking, and we couldn't get away from them.
We couldn't get away. I must have been doing I must have been doing about 80.
Yeah,
Right.
and the
And they
road
were
was
still
completely
keeping up with me.
empty. And then we got further down the road, and someone else joined the motorway in front of us. And like, we went past them, and as we went past, they speeded up to come and see what was happening. And they went from our car to their car, and then back to our car, and it was like jumping back and forth. And then we went under a bridge, and then they were just gone. There was nothing. They were just gone.
You see that the whole area around here, though, it is a bit of an ET hotspot, isn't it? It's a bit like a little bit of a highway, because you're looking from Todmorden, you're talking, then you've got Winter Hill, Rivington, you know, that big triangle going from Bolton over towards Todmorden, back
I'll
over
tell you
in
where.
direction.
I'll tell you where they were. They stretched from Blackburn Royal Hospital all the way over to Rosendale. That's how far you could see them in the sky.
Wow.
And they sort of filled the sky with them.
Like the sky was still full of them, as there was 5. Like, but they were brighter than the other ones. Maybe because they were closer, you know, because they weren't up.
There was a bit like cloud as well, weren't the cloud?
Yeah.
Cover.
It was a
They were like
weird
behind the
colour,
clouds, some of them.
The sky was purple.
Some of them were behind the clouds.
No, it's
flying
see,
really fast.
I mean, again, the guys in the chat, we've had quite a few people, because the minute you said you had this tale, they're all going, "Oh, tell it," because quite a few people as well have had that type of not the same as yours, but they have had experiences. Green Eyes has out in the out. I think it was it the Outback you were in, Green Eyes, when you had your
I thought he was going to say the same thing.
And then
I've got the other one.
Has had one, but that's his tale to tell if ever he wants to tell it. I'm not going to tell that one, but his was when he were a young lad living over. I think it was I'm sure that was when he were in Rossendale, which is
where these were going over towards Rosendale.
Yeah.
Well,
you
that's
could tell
where he was from originally,
because we were on top of the hill, and you could see them across, and it were like the expanse that they were flying around. I said to him, "Now they're going to reach Rosendale if they go over that way." So, and they kept coming backwards and forwards across top of motorway.
You see, I don't know what
he said. You know what he said? Go and park on that bridge there, and we'll sit and watch. I said, "No, we bloody won't."
No, you see, part of me, when we went up to Todmorden the other week, me and Porky, and I was like, part of me wanted to see, because obviously I'd covered the story, hadn't I, of the alien abduction in Todmorden, and what's this flipping net? God, my brain's gone. Because the guy's who your husband had known, wasn't it, Julia?
That policeman, what's he called?
Alan Godfrey. Alan Godfrey, that were it.
Alan Godfrey.
Yeah.
I've studied into that.
My dad does. He knows him.
My dad was good. Yeah.
Well,
how many police officers saw the same thing on now and everything about that case.
And cows moving about.
Cows being moved in the field and things.
They know. They've listened to her telling the story.
I know everything about that. It's actually a creepy story.
Well, if you go and have a look on, because I covered that a few weeks ago, his cousin has put a comment in the chat.
The body they found on the coal pile had burn marks in it. Look at the back of my neck. Can you see them holes?
Yeah.
That happened when I was 13 years old. We was walking across the field with 2 friends. We were walking across the field.
They obviously can't see though, can they?
No, not but probably take a picture. But, we were walking across the field on Cloud Bridge, just over Crown Point. Where we was walking over the field, and it was 10 o'clock at night. We was walking home from home. We've just been on the bike.
She's been to the singing ringing tree, so she probably knows what you're talking about.
That's the just down the road from there where the Cloudbridge Reservoir is. We
Yeah.
were walking on from there. Instead of going down the road, we cut across the farmer's field. And like, as we cut across the field, there was like a tiny blue and red dot in the middle of the field, and it was glowing, and we didn't know what it were. So we walked around it, and because we didn't know if it was a farmer in the garden. We had to go mad on the field. We were only young, we didn't understand. And then as we got down to the bottom of the field, the red light was at the gate, and the blue light was like coming towards us. And as it come over the top of us, we couldn't see. All we could see was pitch black. And we had hold of each other, like holding each other, like why can't we see? We could see a minute ago. It was only like, it was middle of summer, about 10:30 at night. It was just about going dark, and it was pitch black. And we holded each other, carried on walking, and we fell over. As we fell over and got back up, it was like the normal again. But it was dark, and we're like, why is it dark? And we got back to his house, and his mum were going absolutely mad, saying, why have you been out so late? Where have you been?
Oh, God.
And we sat, obviously his mum were going mad, so I stayed with him, and like I'm saying, we just walked around the field. We set off back at 10:30. We've been with his cousin. His cousin verified we left him at the van on the road because we were on the back of motorbikes. And he said they left us at 10:30 to go home. We got at his house at 3:00 in the morning.
You had missing time then, didn't you?
We've both got the exact same scar on the back of our neck.
Maybe that's why they followed.
To this day.
Did you get a doctor having a look at it or anything like that?
No, I've never been to doctors with it. It's just two like circle burn marks with holes in the middle.
That's weird. That Sheila's just said then, like a big UFO passing over you, like it's shadow.
It could have been. We don't know. But the only way I could explain it is like turning a light bulb off in a dark room. That's literally how it happened. The red light was on the gate, and the blue one came up. But why didn't we run? We seen it coming towards us. We didn't run, we didn't move, we just watched it do it. That's the thing we can't get out about it. We just watched it.
It's like sometimes you go in a trance, don't you?
He grabbed over there, and I'm like, I got scared. I'm like, what you doing? Like, I can't see what you're doing. And he's like, neither can I. And we started walking. We fell over. It's literally like 2 minutes. That's how long it felt. And we got it to his house is at the bottom of Rosendale, Manchester Road, the top there. Just don't know where Chris lives. Know the big corner one. He used to live in there. And we got there at 3:00 in the morning. It should have took us an hour. We should have been there about 11:30. So from that time, we don't know. But we've both got the two same scars in the exact same place. Adam Lewis has got the same scar.
Well, I think, I don't know what everybody in chat thinks, but listening to this again, what do you think we do another UFO night? I'll just see whatever, because I think, because we've still got a lot of people with a lot of stories, I think this would be another good one to do. What do you reckon, everybody? Just wait to see what everybody comes back with. Because I like doing these, but I prefer proper stories, people's stories. Yeah, Green Eyes, definitely, because obviously, Green Eyes has got her story. As I said, hers happened in the outback in Australia. And Green Eyes is originally from Oldham and emigrated. So she had an experience out there. And quite a few other people. Yeah, Paula's up for it. Oh, hey, Paula, love, I haven't seen you come in, darling. Hello. Yeah, Joe's up for it. Frida's up for it. Simples and Simples is a nurse as well. She's just said, no wonder you now have epilepsy. You ever thought that might have something to do with it?
Because it's literally just the bottom of my brainstem where the scars are, where your hairline stops. There's one right at the bottom of my hairline, and then there's one on the bone at the back of my neck. And
but your epilepsy didn't start till you were 18, did it?
No, it didn't start till I was 18. This happened when I was 13.
Well,
13. We were both in the same school at the same year. We were both the
You
same
do
age.
have some weird experiences as well.
And is your friend who it happened to, has he had anything like this happen? You know, like either epilepsy or any form of neurological thing?
He went a bit funny in the head.
Yeah, he started on drugs from that, didn't he?
He started on drugs at the first, and then he stopped the drugs, and he's been incarcerated in a mental health hospital for the last 5 years.
Oh, wow.
For coming back out.
I thought that were the drugs though that did that to him.
It could have been, but ever since then, ever since that day, he was a fine, good kid until that day, and after that day, he went off the rails. So I left. I backed away from him. I pulled away from it. I didn't want. So.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
But I've spoke to him since that day. I spoke to him, and he still says he's still got the scars. He still remembers everything. Well, what happened, but it were 2 minutes. That's literally how it felt, and it was like 7 hours, 6 hours, or four gone by.
Flood. Oh, right. No, right. Okay, everyone, we're having another UFO evening then. Definitely having another UFO evening.
UFOs, but not like happening, like to taking us away or anything. But when we've been out as mates, there's been things that's followed us and other things like that. I will save that for.
Yeah, Sheila's just said then that's got to be related, you know, on about you and your friend and, you know, things that have happened. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I definitely hope then if we have another like a UFO and abductions evening and we start talking about all different things, that you'll come back and, you know, if you're free, if you come back and join us, come up on panel and have a natter with everybody, because I know I'd like to hear it, and I know everybody else is really interested in chat. If you're up for that.
Yeah, I'll speak.
Yeah,
we'll come up on panel sometime.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, we'll get something
sorted. The other ghostly thing that I was going to mention, going back to ghosts now, when my mother died of COVID, she died in the April, and we fetched her ashes home at the time because we couldn't have a funeral or anything.
Oh yes, you were telling me, weren't you?
The ashes was on my sideboard, if you will.
Yeah.
And we'd done the garden up in remembrance of her, if you will, because we'd nowhere to put the flowers and things. So we started doing the garden up, and I put all little lights in the garden.
Yeah.
So at night time, when I was on my own, because my other son who'd been helping, he doesn't live with us, and he never saw it lit up. So I went to my patio doors at night, and I was on my own in the room, and I started to video the lights in the garden. And when I was videoing it, there were only me there. Something came up to the side of me and said on the video, she said, "I'm all right."
She didn't think it like that.
It's like you can just hear it in the background. Yeah.
And do you think, did it sound like your mother?
It was my mother's voice.
Yeah.
Wow.
And at the back of me, reflecting in the glass, you can see two spirits walk out the door.
No way.
Yeah.
Walk out the living room.
They walk from the living room into the lobby where my mother's ashes are.
And
I've still got the video. But it's only 19 seconds. Is it 19 or 20 seconds long?
20 seconds.
But that's what I was going to show.
Like an EV.
Oh, is that what you were on about for showing Porky?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll definitely. I know he's in. No, he's in the chat.
Yeah, but just listen. Like, you'll be able to hear it.
Could you hear this? Listen.
Yes.
Could you hear that?
Yes, I did. Oh my God.
That's my mother talking to me when I'm in a room on my own at night, videoing lights in my garden
I
to
heard
show me
that.
the day after.
It's just like that, wasn't it? I'm all right.
Yeah,
On the bed.
Oh yeah.
and you can see two spirits at the back of me because it's reflecting in the window where the lights on. I had the lights off in the living room because I wanted the lights in the garden to show up, but the everywhere lights are on, and you can see them like floating through the door. Two big
That the woman you were saying with her
spirits.
husband who's got a paranormal channel.
Yeah.
Because I've took photos of my room, and there's a little boy on the photo.
Julia,
Got them, and if he wants like to look at them, like I want to know if it is, but if it's me, like making it, or is it actually there? Because I can't decide.
No, maybe for another time. Maybe we'll get onto Porky's channel.
Yeah,
absolutely, and do it. You know, let Porky have a scan at it. Simples has just asked Julia, would you mind playing that again for the chat, just so they can have another listen at it?
Janet.
Hang on, it's on somebody else's phone. Just come back.
It's so cool because it's echoing. Don't hold it right next to the thing.
Did you get it?
1 minute.
Didn't hear it as well that time. I don't know if anybody in chat.
It seems to be saying it through there as well to me.
No, it's weird that.
Why is it? I don't
It's like it says it on there and then it says it on your phone.
I would say, is there any way to say?
Could you hear it?
I didn't hear it that time. That's weird. Oh, hang on. Joe's heard it. Sheila said the volume's down.
Yeah, put it next to it again.
Yeah, put it next to it again then.
Hang on a minute, Kiss.
Yes.
I don't understand why it plays on that before it plays on this.
Could you hear it then?
I could. Yes, I got it. Yeah, Burren Witch got it as well.
I didn't even hear it at first.
It played on that.
It played on there
It played on
and
my
then
phone.
played on that. But how did that happen?
Why did it play on the phone before on there?
And it did that before, no?
It's echoing.
I think it is.
Well, that would be interesting because, like I mentioned before to Burren Witch, Porky's got this thing on his computer where he can look at, you know, the different volumes and different pictures of people's faces. So he should be able to you know, kind of isolate that and listen to it. I don't know if you, Porky, if you're in chat, listen.
Said that'd be awesome. And he can see the two shadows going through the door.
The video, it's on the video as well.
Oh, brilliant.
That's not a voice recording, that's the video.
Yeah.
The shadows walking out.
We're playing the video and then you can hear the video.
Right.
And the shadows are walking behind me through the living room door.
Oh, no, that would be brilliant. In fact, I'll tell you what, because
everybody that heard it cried.
Let me just go into, right, because you're on panel, you can go into private chat now. Give me 1 second because
I'm not good with technology.
Oh, I'm decent. There, can you see where it says chat? It'll probably be that.
Right,
yes.
Click on that.
There should be something there in private chat now. Because I didn't get your email. That's a different email account there. If you send it to that one, that's my own one. That
right.
Because I don't make that one public. So if you can see that, write it down and send it to that email address, and I should get it. That YouTube address don't really work very well, but
they're
that Gmail account, yeah.
I'm not clever at that, so they're writing it. But I thought Porky might be interested in that.
Oh, I think he definitely will. Definitely.
Because you can actually see two spirits on it.
They walk out the room.
They walk out the room behind me as I'm pointing the camera one way. It picks it up on the window.
Wow.
And they're walking to me.
And that's at your house?
Yeah.
Where we live now.
It's about 2 months after my mother died.
Oh, that's a good thing. Sheila's just said. I don't know where he is, Sheila, if he's still in chat or not. She's put, why don't you meet up and interview and play the video too, all professional like?
You could do.
Yeah,
You could do.
that's
I'll
so
make
much.
my brew, but he's not using my toilet.
No.
There's been people coming and pick things up when they come out, so
Paul said, guys, I need to get some sleep. Enjoy the rest of your live acts. Much love. I'll be in bed but listening. Oh, thanks for coming in, Paula, darling. I think next week we're doing Wars of the Roses. We're going to do War of the Roses next week. So by popular demand. But yes, I'll catch you hopefully next Friday. We might have one sooner because I should have moved house by Monday. But yeah, you take care, sweetheart. Thank you very much for coming in, Paula. And catch you soon, lovey. Sorry about that, Julia. You know what I'm like. I have to,
Alright.
greet and say bye to everybody when they come and go.
She's trying to send it to you. I don't know whether you're going to save it for later.
Yeah,
How
I
do I
was
get
going to say I won't be able to open it now because I'm using my phone. If I try and open anything while I'm doing a live on StreamYard, I get. Have you never been in when I get kicked out of my own lives and have to try and come back in again? So, I'll definitely have a look at it when I finish this live.
All right.
I've sent it.
Just watch the door. It's the only bit that's shut, laughing up.
Right.
Sent
No.
It's actually a reflection in it from
Mm.
behind it. It's in the glass door, but it's a reflection from behind
Yeah,
what you see.
I didn't see it at the
No,
time.
no. But
It's
on the
saying
video,
that the address was not found.
have you written it in?
Yeah.
Right, chat. Kiss. I'll go back into chat
Okay,
because
okay. Oh,
I seem to have took over your show.
no, you ain't. But no, it's been brilliant. Everybody's loved listening to the stories. Thank you. Well, thank all three of you for coming up. It's been really interesting.
No, I've knocked it down. Well, I'm gonna shut this down and then go back into chat.
Okay,
Do I
okay.
just
Oh,
press, do I just press that leave button?
yes. You press that and then you're back. Thank you very, very much, guys. Thank you.
All right,
You're
kiss.
welcome.
See you soon.
Bye.
Oh, brilliant. So thank you very much for Julia and Stone and Tim coming up. That was really interesting. Really good story. Yeah, very nice. Thank you so much for your time, Julie. You know, it's very nice time, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Julia. And you so much for listening. Yeah, and you can go to the phone, Julie. Thank you. You too. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, but it's such a feeling to do. Right, hi everybody. I've tried. Is that any better? Just see if that's worked. And I hope you enjoyed our chatting. Yes, Julia, I did. I'm just checking if everybody can hear me now because there was a bit of interference. Yeah, do you know, it happens every time, doesn't it? Or what you been a worrywart over, Burren Witch? What have I missed? No, no, do you know what? I think I was actually thinking the same thing, Burren. because I thought, I know you'd obviously had the disturbance. I've got it. I noticed there was a little bit with Julia as well. I don't know if anybody else noticed that. Sheila, thank you, Julia, please. Thank your son. Very interesting. It was very interesting, Sheila. Burren, I thought it too. Julia was very interesting. Thank you to you and your son. Burren, nothing. I just think we need to back away a bit or change the subject. Yeah, well, I mean, I obviously wasn't going to carry on for all night, doing one of my 5-hour specials. So I think, given that Burren Witch has had a little bit of what going on there, it looks like it's going on here as well. If I change the subject for the next, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour or so, and we can have a bit of general chit chat, we'll steer away from all things paranormal and extraterrestrial. Talk about the next live that I'm going to do, and a bit of general banter. And then if I shut this one down, what do you reckon? Screen as yes, we need food and smoke. We do, but my fella's gone anti, so I don't know where he is. Is he wearing my knickers on his head again? Let's talk about poo. Yes, Simples. Say some more cleansing chants prayers now, please, ladies. Yeah, and I found out today that my ex, who I was with for approximately 20 years, died on the... Oh, no, Lisa, that's such a shame. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that, love. Well, I hope he's where he needs to be now, at peace. That's sad. I don't like hearing when people die. I mean, I know it's part of life, isn't it? We all have to go at some point, but yeah, I just seem to be hearing a lot at the moment. Broke up about 5 years ago. Oh, Lisa, I am sorry. Are you all right, though? Are you okay, loving yourself? Because I know you've had a bit of a shitty run of it lately, haven't you? I think quite a lot have. Oh, and I'm sorry. I did mean to say, Sid, if you're still in the chat, Sid, when Burren Witch was telling a story, I did notice that you'd made a comment in the chat, because I was trying not to watch chat and focus on Burren Witch. I noticed that you said you finally tested negative for the old Rona. Yay, go you. I'm really glad. It's been a long bloody time coming. How long's that been now? 3 weeks to a month, is it? Because I know Porky mentioned it as well, about you having the positives for the Rona. So I'm glad that you're all right, and I hope Nancy's doing okay as well. Yeah, it's good news, isn't it, Burren Witch? Because he's gone through the mill with that, kept testing and still being negative. Porky didn't help either, because he said last week he reckons that Sid was patient 0. Just over 3. Yeah, I was thinking it were coming on for a month, that. 54. It is too young, Frida. The thing is, though, we always sound like we're really old codgers, don't we? If we start saying, oh, it's no age, that. 54. But it's not. It's not at all. But, it's like when I go, I go on about my mum. She was 33, my mum, when she died. Anyway. Okay, very upset, but all right. Oh, right. Well, let's cheer you up, Lisa. Let's try and cheer you up. So, now what was I gonna? Oh, I had a thought then, and I thought it, and then it went out of my head. Oh, bugger. I cannot think what it was. Never mind. So next week's live, for those of you who weren't in the other night, I've promised to do the War of the Roses, because I know Lisa was really interested in it. Burren Witch as well. Sheila. Who else? Who else was really into doing the Wars of the Roses? I can't remember now. Yeah, Sheila's right. Yes, Lisa, it will be a shock. You haven't had time to process it yet. Yeah, so as most of you know, that was one of the things I studied quite intently for my degree, one of them. And I absolutely love the Plantagenets and the Houses of York and Lancaster and the whole War of the Roses and all the intrigue that surrounded it and the Woodvilles and everything. So we're going to do an evening on one of the few evenings that I'm not going to touch on anything paranormal, supernatural, UFO related, scary, or, well, no, there is a bit of a mystery, isn't there? There is some mystery involved. So for those people who aren't aware of the history for that particular period, I hope that you're going to find it interesting, because I find it absolutely fascinating. And we are going to start with, oh, sorry, let's just see what Frida's put. Don't know anything about the War of the Roses, vaguely remember something in school about it. It's fascinating, Frida. It's the thing is, at school, it's like the War of the Roses. It's like the 100 Years' War, and they were all just so boring. Oh, Joe, my daughter is here. This was great. Catch you all later. Oh, you take care, Joe. Hopefully I'll see you next week, darling. Have a great weekend. Have a lovely time. You take care, darling. Bye-bye. But it's absolutely fascinating period of our history in this country. And especially when a lot of what happened shaped not only the royal families of our country, but the royal families across Europe as well. And there's a little bit of everything. There is intrigue, there is mystery, there are clandestine affairs, there is deceit, there are murders, everything and anything. I mean, it's that's right. Lisa's just put it absolutely perfectly. So Machiavellian. And it is very fascinating, Burren Witch. It's so fascinating. And all the theories. And I mean, if ever any of you remember when they found Richard III's bones in the car park, and I've always been a huge supporter of Richard III. I never thought that he was responsible for the deaths of the princes, or rather the murders of the princes in the Tower. I've never thought that. I still don't. I have my own theories, and yes, you will all hear my theory next week as to what I think happened to the princes. So there's so much, and for those people listening who are into true crime, it doesn't get more true crime than, what has been called by some people the bloodiest dynasty in, English royal history, because they were a bloody dynasty. Said, aye, it'll be right good, will that? Because I knows lots about it, and I'm from Lancashire. Yes, you certainly are. White Rose of Yorkshire, Red Rose of Lancashire. Oh, Lancaster, yes. That was so sad for them two boys. It was, or was it? Lisa believes is responsible. Not a problem. Again, we can have that discussion, and let's see if I can change your mind. Shall that be my mission, to see if I manage to change anybody's mind as to whether they think Richard is responsible or not? That's a challenge for me, isn't it? But I do believe, I'm not sure exactly who was responsible, but I can explain to you why I do not think it's Richard III, and I have got some stuff to back that up with. So we'll see. So that's my goal next week, is to try and convince Lisa why Richard III isn't responsible. Gauntlet thrown. Yeah. The thing is, Lisa, so am I. So am I. It's just that when I read certain things and documents and so on and so forth, shall we say, at the moment, I started to, because obviously I'd learned the same as everybody else at history, that Richard III killed the princes in the tower because he was a bad un. And so I'd always been of that same opinion, Richard III responsible for those murders. And now I'm not. Yeah, and the thing is, Lisa, though, it could have been others. And the likelihood is, if it was Richard III, he wouldn't have done it with his own hands anyway. Somebody would have done it on his behalf. However, I don't even think it goes that far. I think it was nothing whatsoever connected or to do with Richard III or his supporters. But I'll save that for next week. That's my hook for next week, I think. So anyway, Lisa, I don't know if did you manage to catch Burren Witch's tale of Lep, or are you going to have to go back and listen to the beginning of the live again? She was really good, and I hope, Burren Witch, that you'll come up again and have a little chat to us about some of the other stuff that you've done now that you've been up the once and you've popped your cherry on the channel. I'd be really fascinated if you'd, and I know everybody else would as well, if you'd come up and tell us a few more tales. I've listened to a few, such as Alison Weir and David Starkey. I will have brilliant, Burren Witch. Oh, that's great. That's great. I like it when people come up as well. Like Tiz used to do it as well. She just go, drop the link and just come up and talk about random shizzle. I love that. So, all of you, any and all of you are welcome. Like Lisa's done it before, haven't you, love? And just popped up on panel and we've had a bit of a natter, a few of us. So, yeah, anybody and all of you are welcome. Sid Vicious, as is known in Ireland, Dick the shit, Richard the Turd. Do you know what, Sid? And Porky can back me up on this. And my uncle, well, great uncle, my nana's brother, used to do it south of Ireland. And it was really funny because he used to speak with his teeth together. He never, ever opened his teeth when he was talking. And he was a bit like a ventriloquist. So he talked like that all the time. And his teeth were never, I'm sorry, my Irish accent's shit. But you'd say, you'd go on about Richard III and you'd go, was it Richard the Third, a dicky the shit? I can never remember. And I can still see him with his teeth tight together. Richard the Third, a dicky the shit. Unless it's just a standing Irish joke, I don't know. But yeah, bless him, Uncle Peter used to do that and have us in stitches. But again, we used to always get him to say 33 and a third because we thought it was hilarious. And he'd be there going, 33 and a third. He was a lovely guy. He was lovely, lovely man. They all were, though, but there's none of that generation are left now. The last one of my nan's sisters, who was the youngest, she died, God, I don't know if it's about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But she was born in England. She wasn't born in Ireland. She was born over here. So But yeah, all those tales, all the stories have gone now, apart from the ones that we were told. Yeah, it's such a shame. Oh, Sid, yeah, turkey tree and a turd. Yeah, that's the one. It's just funnier watching, somebody with an accent like his, but who never, I don't know what it was. His teeth never ever opened. They just were clamped together while he talked, no matter what he was saying. You're a Ming, oh yes, because she's coming with an open Ming. Kiss. Just remembered, A Horse, My Kingdom for a Horse. I think that was William Shakespeare's play, Richard III. I do know some things. It was, and apparently that's what, because it was it was taken from the saddle, wasn't he? And I can't remember whether his horse was. I think the horse was killed from underneath. It was either that or it was unseated anyway. And he wanted to get back into the battle, and he needed a horse to do it. But yeah, it was. Lisa, can you remember? Because I know I used to know loads of little insignificant stuff. Was it his horse? Wasn't it called something like White Surrey or something? He had this white stallion, and I'm sure it was called White Surrey. I mean, apparently he was a fantastic horseman, was Richard III. And did any of you, when we watched, they obviously uncovered his remains from the car park, and then they did a follow-up program on it, and they found a guy who had a young man, and he had scoliosis, so it's the same curvature of the spine. Because Richard III's spinal curvature was exactly, it was very severe, and this young man had virtually identical scoliosis to Richard III. So they then started trying to find out if this guy with such a disability was able to perform on the battlefield as Richard III was purported to have, because he was apparently a fantastic swordsman, he was a fantastic horseman, and they were a bit dubious as to whether somebody with that kind of spinal deformity would be able to function as he was supposed to do. And they actually managed to prove that yes, he was. And sitting in that medieval saddle made it much easier for this young guy to ride. He was finding difficulty in a normal English saddle. When they put him into the medieval war saddle, they then found that actually supported his back. It wasn't compressing his lungs, because that particular form of scoliosis would cause lung compression and would cause quite, a lot of breathing difficulties. And the way that he was positioned in the saddle, it helped him to sit to the horse better. And also they fashioned made to measure armor for him as well that had some flexibility in it. So it was kind of armadillo-esque in certain places. And they proved that, yeah, he could have led the charge. He could have stayed seated on his horse, and he was able to function as a warrior. So I found that absolutely fascinating. Just go back through the chat, see what I've missed. Oh, you can't remember, Lisa? Yeah, I'm sure it was something. I'll have to Google it when I come off this live. I'm sure it was something like White Surrey, though. Burren Witch, isn't it funny? There's no problems with the signal or anything now, isn't it? I could feel the energy earlier. We were pushing it. Yeah, I think we were, Burren Witch. I think there are certain things that we have to limit the time on, don't you? And I know Lady Witch will be of the same agreement. Green Eyes just making a smoothie. Oh, well, apparently, I don't know if he's done it or not, but a certain Mr. Porky is supposed to be purchasing a smoothie maker. It's not for me though; it's for the baby piglet. I shouldn't call her piglet actually, because she's not. She's lovely, but it's for baby Porky. Yeah, I think in future, if we are doing anything, we're covering anything that negative, we stick to a quite rigid time restriction, shall we say. I think an hour, you're just about pushing it on the hour, because it's I think the feeling in the chat, plus you telling the tale, and you were obviously getting anxious. I'm getting excited listening to it, and obviously I've got some excitement. It's all energy, isn't it? And it's just giving whatever it is more energy to feed off. So yeah, I think definitely in future, if we feel like we're dragging over, that's yeah, we can always do another part another day. Yeah, it you forget, don't you, when you get into a chat, you all doing that. Oh, you're just crapping yourself, are you? Don't forget to wipe properly, Green Eyes. It was yeah, I think the thing is though, can you tell you can feel the change in the energy in the chat though, can't you? And in fact, I can feel a change in the energy in my lounge, and nothing was happening in here. I'm floating in and out. Definitely needed for dad stuff, so I listen from the start later. Yeah, no problem. It might be worth you, Porky, running certain things back through your wonderful computer. You know, when you were trying to decipher what happened with the growl that time, and you managed to single it out. Well, we've got some stuff coming over from Julia for you, so when I get that, I will send it across. But yeah, I shall stop taking you away from dad time. You go and enjoy yourself with baby Porky, and I shall speak to you tomorrow. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, Burren Witch? You feel lighter. And I'll tell you what else as well. The chimney in I've got an old Lancashire range in my lounge here. So I think some of you have seen photos of it. It's cast iron, and it's a proper old fashioned, the same as you'll see in a lot of the very old Irish cottages. You know, it's got the oven um, and yeah, there's like different parts that you can do the full cooking and boil a kettle on it and keep pans warm on it and do the whole malarkey. And so I've got this in the lounge here, and I'm not kidding you. And on this little dog's life, because he's fast asleep here on my legs now, that, and it's all black leaded. The range started to go very, very dark. Shall we say darker? And it's not now, it's all back to nice and bright and open. But while we were talking, I was sitting near it, and it was actually going very, very dark. Well, chimneys are another thing that I'm always wary of. Mirrors and chimneys when I'm talking about anything of that ilk. But yeah, it's lightened up again now. But having said that, I did throw a handful of sage on the fire, so maybe that's helped to lighten the atmosphere. Afraid of things kicking off. Yeah. Well, I think I always use my little dog. Yes, I was just going to say that, Frida. Cooper's very sensitive. And right now, in fact, I'm going to show you. I'm going to put my camera on, and I'm going to try and show you what he's doing. If you ignore my really sexy stripy gym jams. See if I can get him on there. He's actually asleep upside down. Against my legs. Look at that. Have you ever? Have you ever? I know, you little sweetheart. Fast asleep. That is not like my dog, is it? Back in the dark now, but I genuinely did put the lights back on earlier. Well, that's it though, Sid, isn't it? It's because like Burren might think it didn't sound scary, but it actually is scary. Look at his little teeth. I know. I love this little pup skin. He's just out for the count, and I don't know why. He got so excited before though, because Porky and baby Porky came here to pick my clothes up, and I'd made some I'd done some pies. I'd done mince pies in hot water crust pastry. So when they walked in, they had a cup of tea each, and I had pies ready for him. And he got so excited because obviously he loves them both. And he had to sit on the floor and not try scavenging food because he is just a beggar. And then Porky nipped upstairs, and the minute he went, baby Porky was then letting him come and jump all over on the sofa, which he just thought was great. And I think the excitement has just has just finished him off. Yeah, Frida, that'll learn you being all brave. I know. I do that though. I think I'm being brave, and then I completely wuss out. So I feel Sid's pain. It's easy saying, yeah, I'll have a listen in the dark, until you start to imagine things. I wouldn't have, because I know what's going on at Let through other channels, and then hearing Burren's tale. Yes, I would not have sat here with the lights out. Absolutely not. Whoa, BTC in the house. Hiya, love. How are you? It says, hey guys, been listening, working my arse off. Burren, Julia, absolutely terrifying and interesting. I know. Hey, we're anglicising you here, bedtime clown, saying arse. Yeah, we'll definitely have Burren Witch and Julia and Julia's son come up again. Love these scary stories, and Green Eyes as well, and anybody else, and Sid. Frida, I wanted to set the atmosphere, but it got really heavy. Do you know though, Sid? I think it was, and I don't think it was so much the scare factor. I think, like Burren Witch had said, the negative energy that was surrounding that story was actually affecting everybody. I think, obviously, Burren more than anybody else, but it definitely had some effect on the chat, didn't it? And especially with what people were hearing coming over Burren's microphone. I'm about to drive home, so can't chat. Hi, everyone. No problem, bedtime clown. Everybody says hello. Everybody loves you. And yes, please drive safely. And give our love to Voodoo as well, please. Not seen Voodoo for a few days. Yeah, bedtime. Burren saying, glad you enjoyed it. Green Eye says, hey, bedtime clown, been wondering where you have been, babe. Missed you in Voodoo. Yeah, Sid, hiya clown, drive safe, mate. And Burren saying, yeah, it happens all the time. So, well, so if I tell you what I'm up to, and then I think I will probably, what have we done? Oh, yeah, I've done over 3 hours now. So I've got a mad, crazy weekend because, as I said first thing before, we've got the van coming on Monday. So hopefully I will get this house emptied or near enough emptied. Furniture should all be gone by then, which will leave me 10 days so I can kind of clean and repaint where necessary without having to do it all in 24 hours. So it's going to give me a fair bit of time. So as of Monday, I should officially not be living here no more. Who's disappeared, Green Eyes? No, it's your bloody. It'll be your thing again. So yes, I should officially not be living in this house anymore and be living in Casa Porky. I will have to come back here, like I said, every a couple of days or so, and sort everything out. And maybe if I've left anything, yeah, iPad gone, yeah, weird again. Spooks are in it. Yes, it's possessed. It needs an exorcism, Green Eyes, but it does that all the time, doesn't it? So I'm hoping that I can manage to get online a little bit more after probably from Wednesday on. But if I don't get on before, we'll definitely do next Friday. We will do, as I said, the War of the Roses, but because I didn't want to do it this week because I wanted to, for us to be serious with Burren Witch telling a story. I'm happy if you all want to do Incognito again next Friday to coincide with the War of the Roses. Let me know what you think. I'm quite happy to do serious with a bit of funniness joined in. I do not mind at all. And then if at some point in there somewhere I can manage to slot a UFO one. And yeah, let me see. Simples in bed, nice and warm with me sheep. You'll get locked up for that, Simples. Sheep. Oh, she's a a cushion. Oh, okay. We'll let you off. I was getting a little bit worried then. Things happen, don't they? Simples, most men round here are too. Yeah. Well, that's a joke, isn't it? It said it's the what do you call 6 sheep in Wales, a leisure centre. Oh, you had visions of a herd of sheep in bed with you. Oh, Frida, she would have liked. Do you remember Billy Big Balls? You could have had Bill or Son of Billy. Could have had either of those in bed with you. They were dead cute. Although Billy Big Balls was way too big. He weighed about 85 stone. And little Son of Billy, who was cute as a button. And then I keep getting, oh God, the nagging me something chronic round here to have a leaving do from the village, because I've lived here that long. And then from Monday sort of won't be. My friend Maria got a little bit tearful before when I said that the van was coming Monday. So she's like, but I'm working. When am I going to see you? I said, well, I'm kind of going to be over there, but I am coming back, so I've got to sort the house. She's like, well, when are you having your leaving do? Everybody's wanting you to have a leaving do. So I've got to try and fit that in as well at some point. And I'm moving, it's horse moving day on the Sunday, the 20th. So yeah, I've got a bit of a hectic time coming up, but from the 20th of March, I should be able to take a big sigh of relief and get back to bugging the shit out of everybody online. So that's where we are. Right. So I think on that note, what I shall probably do is, oh, hang on a minute. Kiss was thinking, at least you won't have any more cat shit gate. Ah, I know. Well, do you know what, Frida? When I went walking with Maria before, because the woman with the cat she's like next door but one to me, but she lives next door to Maria, my friend. And she was saying, what are you doing about all that cat shit? I said, oh, it's going to be, I'm going to leave a nice little parcel for her, the whole lot on the back step. I might even stick like a matchstick in it or something with a little note attached saying the phantom strikes again or something similar. But I don't know. I'll see how the mood grabs me. My neighbours would find out when the van arrived. Well, I'm not telling it. It's really difficult because the majority of people, I do love this village and I've lived here such a long time. Oh, are you going, Green Eyes? Oh, were you? Oh, sorry, you said night to me. I was saying night until I read the chat. Oh, that's because you're behind night all. Thank you for a lovely evening. Oh, night, you need to go and have your granny nap, Green Eyes. Yeah, yes, Frida, definitely a wee leaving gift or a shit leaving gift. But yeah, I just thought might just put a little flag in it or something, you know, if you can get that close. There is that much shite. Oh, your iPad's on delay. It's all right. Sid's the same as well. So yeah, so if I call this one, I'll call this one a day. I will try and get on in between now and next Friday, but I can't promise. It just depends how this move goes. And then I can come on and be all excited. So thank you everybody for coming in tonight. Massive thank you to Burren Witch. Your story was amazing, and thanks for being brave enough to tell it, considering everything that went on as well. Thank you to you and to Lady Witch for offering protection for the whole of the chat. That was much appreciated, and obviously it was needed. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, son of Julia, for coming up. Sorry, we have to say son of Julia because I don't know your name, love. But thank you very much for coming up and telling your story, stories, I should say. And I hope that you'll join us again when we have another evening along those lines. But yes, next one is War of the Roses next week. So a little bit of something for everybody, hopefully. And those of you that don't know about the War of the Roses, I hope you will learn something. But I'll try and keep it as interesting as possible. So, on that note, love to you all. Thank you all so, so much. Again, big thank you to the panel guests tonight. You've been really, really good and so generous in sharing your stories. So, on that note, look after yourselves. Everybody stay safe. And until I see you all again, I shall see you on the bright side. Night, everybody.